Hello, everyone. We're on.
Hello.
I assume. Let's just check. Can everyone be heard?
Am I supposed to be recording?
No.
No, you're not supposed to be recording,
sake,
James. Why don't you listen? We
James.
literally just spoke about that.
I'm just winding you up, but yeah.
No, you're not.
No,
No, you're
you
not,
don't.
though. This is the thing.
You're not.
You
What
can't
you're doing
say
is
I'm winding
gaslighting
you
us,
up when you're
James.
not.
You're gaslighting us by saying that you're winding us up.
Don't worry like
real.
that. Don't worry like that. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us for the recording for episode 300 of the Computer Game Show. We're doing it live tonight on Twitch. This isn't going to be on the show. This is us just talking to you people that have tuned in now and letting you know what's going to happen. So we are going to record a normal episode of the Computer Game Show, although it's not normal because it's episode 300.
Normal as it normally is, am I right?
It's going to be pretty normal. So we're not going to be referring to the chat too much. I'm sure if a comment catches our eye saying, no, James, you've made that up. You've fucking made that up. I've got the evidence here. If someone puts that, then we'll read that out for sure. But otherwise we'll keep it to just a normal podcast. And that is until the end where we do a Q&A. Which usually is made up from messages sent in throughout the week, but tonight it will be made up from comments from the chat. James, stop talking in the chat.
James, we are going to talk in the chat. Can you answer International Man of Mysteries question, please? Are you wearing any trousers? Please confirm.
I am wearing trousers.
No,
yeah.
stand up.
Show us. Is he wearing his Starkles t-shirt?
He is.
There he is. Look,
Nice.
He's in his jeans.
Not
Look
brand.
at that.
There you
Look
go.
at that. And any other questions before we get started? But first time chats.
We've had a few. We've had a load of subs, and I've already lost track of all of them. But thank you very much. Everyone.
Isn't there a thing that says here are all the subs?
Maybe, but I don't know where the button is for it, Dave.
Yeah, no, I've got that here. If you want to do that already.
Yeah,
Thank you, Toad, for the sub. Revenge of Gibbon, Cosmonaut as well. Vetuki, Hello Spaceman, Lupo Bailey for giving out a sub. Thank you ever so much, Lindy, for that. The Weebiss, Shawnee, Neil Arrow, Carlos Hickman, Sensible Steve. Thanks for the follow as well, Steve J. Appreciate that. And DJ Black.
Appreciate y'all. We're going to talk about some computer games.
Oh, do we have to?
We're all excited.
Can we not just answer questions about, food and how we wash ourselves and stuff like usual?
As bonus content material.
That's true.
Sean, we need to save that for the people that are
paying up.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Should we just get going, or is there anything else you want to cover before we get started?
I think we're good.
Thank you as well for the QuickBooks chap. Thank you. I think we know that's Simon Patrick. Thank you. Well, I assume it could be another QuickBooks chap. And thank you,
it could be another. Could you imagine if they fight over that title at some point? Like pure rage. Yeah. Okay. All right. Right. Okay. So you're going to see a little bit behind the scenes now, viewers, because this is where we
behind
do
the curtain.
Yeah, you've seen it all before. I'm going to run the backup like you asked. I'm missing an audio device. Oh shit.
Audio.
Hold on. I'm not going to run the backup.
I was going to say, I thought we decided we weren't.
Okay.
We're not going to do that.
We
We did, but then Matt was like, "Oh, I'm getting so nervous."
I mean, he's not
can't
wrong.
handle it.
It's not like
No,
Really?
good to have a safety net.
We're going out live on Twitch, right? We could just use that as a backup.
And when has us going out live on Twitch ever gone wrong?
Yeah.
All right, I'll run the backup then.
No, I'm just making the point. I can see where Matt's coming from.
You can't say let's not run the backup and then take the piss out of me for not running the backup. So we're running the backup, okay?
Good. While we're here, UC Bones, Terziak, Hassel 10. Thank you all for the sub. And thank you also, Hello Spaceman, for the 300 bits.
Oh my goodness, that's 1 bit per episode. That's incredible.
Oh yeah, lovely old job. I didn't even tweet because I'm an idiot.
What is a hype train? Because I'm not
sure
about that.
You're on one and you don't even know it.
What is a hype train?
Is that a real question?
No, it's a genuine question. What is a hype train? What is it? I don't get it.
Well, I just don't know, but I would never say that.
When you have enough people following or subbing or donating bits, then the more that it kind of fills up a meter, and then that keeps going. And you get everyone in the chat gets an exclusive emote or
And you know what else happens when we hit a hype train, James?
What?
Matt's cheeks go like really red. Look. he's got the hype train directly linked to his anus, and when it goes off, it goes up.
It's going to hit a level 5 in a minute. What's going to happen?
I was trying to think what other things have happened to make my cheeks go red, and it was Mr. X, wasn't it? It was Mr. X.
Oh my God,
Simon
Simon Sloth has lost his mind. Look at that.
5
Incredible.
community subs, Simon Sloth. Crazy.
Look at that. It's lovely.
Let's not start the show. Let's just keep it rolling. Just keep
it rolling. Keep it rolling. In fact, actually, here's my sort code and account.
Just send it straight.
Can we start the show?
Cut out the middleman.
10 past 10.
The middleman being Jeff
Shut
Bezos.
the fuck up. It's episode 300, mate. Come on.
James, do you know how much money is literally rolling in as we speak? People are paying for this. Rightly or wrongly.
He doesn't need it though, does he? He just got to ask his parents.
That's true.
Right, are we ready to...
outrageous.
Daddy.
I like that that's the bit where he like draws a line and gets angry.
He does piss me off, honestly.
Stop being rich.
We should,
Right,
I don't know if
you
we
ready?
said,
Not
we should probably
rich.
just say now, obviously, because this is going to, you might have already said this, Dave, sorry, I was still looking at technical shit, but obviously, because this will go out as a normal podcast, we're not, apart from the questions bit, we're not going to be like, oh, someone in the chat just said such and such. We'll probably just roll on as normal, right?
Yeah, I did say that, yeah.
So you did say that, right?
Yeah, I did. That's fine.
Yes,
Thanks
yeah,
for listening.
Dave already said this, all right.
Thanks for living.
I hope someone in the chat will be like, do you know what? I didn't really get it when Dave said it, but now that Sean said it,
He's really spelled it out.
He's really sold me on it, actually.
Dave, that is a huge bottle. Holy shit! Yeah, I've got a big old
Fucking
bottle
hell.
because I'm playing football in a couple of weeks, and it
Thirsty boy.
feels like I need it. Yeah.
You're going to need to wheel the pitch if you keep drinking that.
Yeah, man.
Before we start, Matt, can I ask you, have you bought one of those really massive bottles of water with the inspirational quotes on it?
Oh no, I hate that.
Because I saw them on Instagram and thought Matt's got one.
I mean, what, like something from Love Island? What do you mean, like
So
inspiration?
it's like halfway through, it's like, yeah, keep going and stuff.
Oh,
I'm like,
Keep going,
nearly
you can
there.
still drink
I know
water.
what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, bullshit.
I love if it got
Definitely
like
got
towards the end. It's like, water's fucking boring, isn't it? Bet you wish it was Pepsi.
Just on that, and I know James wants to go to bed or start to go, but like the other day,
If you filled this up with vodka, what a legend! That's at the bottom. God,
I
sorry,
know what it
Matt.
says. I saw this thing the other day where it's basically, I can't remember what they're called, but it's like there's bottles and you put water in, but it's got this little pods you put in at the top, and the smell of the pods tricks your brain into thinking you're actually drinking like juice or something else. Apparently, it's
Just
all the
drink
rage.
juice then. Fucking hell, life's too short. Sitting there tricking your brain. Fucking hell.
Saying it,
Anyway,
but-
this is great. This is great content. We are wasting it.
Yep.
Without hitting record. Right, are you ready?
Yes.
Everyone hit record.
I have.
This is genuinely how we do this. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Matt. Oh, we're all in sync now. Also, that
You
really
would
hurt my nipples.
Is that how you really do it?
Showing off.
Every time.
No, usually I just do it on the side. I just did it for gags, but now my nipples are red raw. They're like Matt's cheeks.
Yeah, or like my left nipple, but let's. You've heard that story.
I don't think I have, but let's save it for a bonus show.
You definitely have.
Okay.
We'll move on.
Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turn. I'm here with Sean Bell,
Hello.
Matt Murray,
Hello.
and James Farley.
Hello.
It's not just any episode of the Computer Game Show. This is episode 300, and we are recording it live in front of an audience on Twitch. There's hype trains going off. Matt's cheeks are bright red.
It's very warm in here.
Matt's getting
It's made-
shouted at for not clapping yet. Everyone wanted to hear a
And
clap.
it's had made no change to James Farley. He still wants to go to bed really early, and doesn't want to be here.
It's because we've started even later than normal. So it's like,
Yeah, but it's for people, isn't it? For our fans.
You said, I know, you said
Special
start.
event.
You said start at 9. I'm
Just
like,
don't
okay,
look
that's
at your
fine.
watch.
James, if you were like
Stop looking at
invited
your
out,
watch.
like a night out for your birthday, and you're like, oh, they want me to go out like at 9 o'clock.
Oh, this is what he says. This is what. Have you not heard this?
No, go on.
He says, "Oh, it's forced fun." No, me inviting you out to go out is not forced fun.
That's just fun.
That's
It's
just
supposed
fun.
to be
No,
fun.
no, no,
yeah.
no. I didn't say it was about going out. I said I don't like parties because it feels like it's forced fun.
But
You know?
What if you?
you,
yeah, okay.
you don't understand. James, you don't
It's
understand.
it's
That's not
organised
forced fun.
fun.
That's fun things.
But
He's
most things
a
are
chaotic entity, Dave. You can't be like, right, have fun
Excuse
on
me.
this date, James.
Could you imagine him at Wembley when he was with Matt and he was sitting there just going, well, I'm supposed to be having fun, so I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're 2-0
this is
up.
This whole
organised-
event is just a fucking
Yeah, this is organised football.
construct.
I'm not. I want to spare the moment football match. This is way too organised.
Yeah,
for me.
yeah, yeah.
The Super Pat Vieira stuff
Everything.
was too much, Matt.
What happens, James? What happens when you actually having fun and you just sitting there and you go, oh, fucking hell, this is fun. I wasn't expecting it. This is what real fun is right here. Look.
I
Catches
don't
him
know,
out of
because
nowhere.
I mean, I don't want to talk about this because it's weird. It's really
Yeah, I know.
That's why we've seized
It's
upon
very
it, James.
fucking
That's
weird.
why.
No, because I
You've
don't
scented blood,
generally
and now
get
this
that.
is-
I don't generally get that very much, you know.
You don't get
Okay.
what? Fun.
No, that feeling of like this is fun, you know.
James,
You-
every time you come over, last time when you come over and we watched that Star Wars rip-off film,
Yeah.
yeah, you had the time of your life.
That was fun. That was fun. Yeah.
That was fun, wasn't it?
I
And we were
don't.
good
I
at
don't
it.
usually think about it. You know, it just happens. You know, I'm not sitting there thinking this is fun. You know, it's like you know, I was. It
No,
was
Does today?
no
I
one
hope you
sits
think-
there and thinks
Hey,
this is fun.
This is fun.
that's what you just said. You just said that. You said, you know, you're sitting there and thinking, when do you realise that this thing's fun or not?
Well, no, never mind. Okay, look, we're just going to introduce our Patreon producers for this month. They are the Full Nels crew, Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks chap, Simon Nelson, Jack Oven, Moomin Biscuit, Trans Rights and Human Rights, Dave Ernsberger, Colin Brown, Gazman, Happy Birthday Sam and Neil, Gabsy, Rocketman76, Rex Reese, Happy New Year Sam, love from Neil, Grey Dragon Claw, Fred Fenge, Smooth Monkey, and Happy Mother's Day Sam, love from Dr. Farley's Sexy Fan. They are the Full Nels crew, and you can join them by going to patreon.com/TCGS. There are various different tiers there, aren't there, Matt? Various different tiers.
So many tears. So many
So many
tears.
tiers. We recorded our bonus show this week, and we've got quite a lot to do on the bonus
Yeah,
show
we've
this
got a
week.
few things to
Firstly,
cover, haven't we?
well, I was going to call it a James Farley special, right?
No, don't do
because we got a bunch of James Farley stuff to cover. We got the New
Sorry.
York trip to cover.
Yeah.
I
We've
don't
got-
even remember most of that. That's the problem. I'm a bit
You
worried.
better start remembering them, boy. Then we got a couple of other bits to do. But then you had an idea as well, didn't you, Sean? You don't want to reveal that on the show, though, right?
No, I can do. So when I did the
What was it?
when I did the
Can't we?
Sea of Friends stream, I think it was like the second one we did. I can't remember how it happened, but the chat got onto just terms for obscure sexual kinks. And then I invited people to send a load in, and the idea is I'm going to read out the names to James and see if he can guess what they are.
Oh, so it's still a James Farley special.
Oh,
then?
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
it does
And then there's
sound
also
quite
the
interesting,
and then,
actually.
so what were you thinking the band stuff?
Yeah, the band stuff. That's
Yeah.
what I'm excited about.
So I've managed to secure a couple of recordings from when I was in a band.
Oh, that's right.
So we may
Careful.
have a little listen to them, maybe. Not
But
very good.
Also, Ian said to me that he wants at least 10 minutes of James reading out those, jokes written by 2-year-olds that make no sense or whatever.
Yeah.
He wants like 10 minutes of James just reading them out while we all just stay quiet and try not to laugh at him. So I think we'll sneak that in as well. That's on this week's bonus show.
Gonna be a
Little
bloody
preview
long
there.
bonus show.
Looking forward to it.
It will be patreon.com/TCGS if you want to jump on that. The only other thing to talk about before we get back to your feedback is that there are only 10 tickets? Something? No, we're down to single digits now, aren't we? For our TCGSCON tickets. Go to tcgs.co/TCGSCon if you would like to come and play Laser Quest with us in Sheffield, and then watch us do a live show, and then meet us afterwards. Go out for a few drinks. Honestly, this is it. We are literally hitting the limit of what the fire brigade will let it be in the venue.
You don't want to fuck
So-
with the fire brigade.
No, they
Jesus.
got big arms, haven't they?
They have.
They got big arms.
Kick the shit out of
If you were being attacked by firemen,
you. Yeah.
would you expect them to attack you with fire or not?
Well, I don't. I was going to say my instinct was going to say no, but then I remember those incredible photographs from when there was a clash. Was it between the fire brigade and the police in France? And,
What?
and
I don't remember
literally the firefighters they were like setting themselves on fire and like marching towards the police like on fire. Oh, it's incredible.
This happened,
Okay.
Yeah.
James, are you sure this happened, Sean?
Was this an anime?
No, this was real life, James. That's... I don't watch that sort of thing. Thank you.
Matt, should we?
I'm going to have to look it up now. I'm going to look it up,
I think
and
James,
because we're on Twitch, I can show everyone on the screen.
I should just say, Sean.
Yeah.
I think James nicked that gag from Scientologist.
No, I did not nick that gag.
I
There
need to
is
have
no
a look, a little
way.
review
Yeah,
of
I
the
know. I did not steal that joke. Why the hell would I do that when it'd be so obvious that I'd done that? It just so happened that I said the same thing.
You can't get away with it, James. Little thief, patter thief. Patter thief.
Like the time
Right, okay.
In the quiz.
Should we get to the feedback, Matt? What they all loved it last week, did they?
No. We're going to start with Gasman. Hello. Last week, David and Matt got a little heated on comparing games, but I must come to Matt's aid and agree with him. Switch Sports Football does have quite a big ball, and you have to score on either end of the map, just like Rocket League. But the similarities do not stop there, because what else has got big balls? That's right, Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball, which itself is a little cartoony and thus a stark reminder of NBA Jam, which is portrayed side on side, just like Streets of Rage, a game about crime, just like Mafia 2. In other words, Matt is right. Switch Sports Football is just like Mafia 2. Happy 300. I see what you've done there, Gasman. Trying to be clever.
I've got a lot of time for Gas Man. I was thinking about this row in the week, Matt, right? This little argument we had. And do you know what? I was thinking, would you say that Switch Sports Football is a lot like FIFA?
No.
Because it's more like FIFA than it is Rocket League.
Really?
But it doesn't have exactly the same goal celebrations like FIFA. It doesn't like
not the Switch Sports
like FIFA. It doesn't have the same camera angles and the replays like FIFA.
It's got humans running along instead of cars driving along. That's a lot more similar, isn't it?
There's a similarity there, sure.
You can't fly.
They
basically
copied Rocket League and put a person in it. That's what they've done.
You can't jump in FIFA either, though, Dave. Whereas you can in
Yes, you can to head the ball. Oosh. Yes, you can. Head the ball. Bang. You give me one of them. Good, Sean. Show us what a good header looks like in football.
Like
Look at that. Look, that was going top chords. Top bins. Love it. Yeah, Matt.
We didn't get much more feedback on that. So what I'm hearing is that everyone basically agrees with me that yes, it's very similar. I thought we'd get a lot more, but wasn't the case.
It off.
Wasn't
Go on.
the case.
See, that is a good point though. Like, so Lee Morris in the chat has said, I can't fly in Rocket League.
Oi,
maybe you can.
We said at the start.
No. I don't care. I'm bringing this up.
I don't care. Something agrees with me, so I'm going to read it out.
So he said he can't fly in Rocket League. I can't fly in Switch Sports. Maybe you can, and nobody have figured it out.
No one's good enough to do it.
Yeah, it just hasn't. It hasn't got.
Do you reckon
you could do it in real life?
Thing that you got to do with your arms to get the Joy-Cons to get flapping.
No one's got to the end game of Switch Sports yet. Once they do, they're like, "Oh yeah, you can fly in this." But
when you get to the end game of Rocket League, it says you're no longer allowed to fly. You've used up all the boost, all the energy's gone from this universe, and then you're done. So it's complete opposite
about the
to
energy
that game.
crisis.
It really is.
Saw that coming.
It really is.
Hakon Lingstad. I was going to explain. Oh yes, so this is an email about the fact Hakon Lingstad emailed in asking us what slippers we wear because they're a pervert, and then said, "Oh, it's related to a bet," and then we're like, "What?" They're back.
Well, no, it was the shoes on or off in the house thing, wasn't it? Specifically.
Yeah, that was it.
That was where the slipper stuff came from.
On or off in the house, yeah.
Same thing, I think, in my book. Anyway, I was going to explain the bet about wearing your feet around the house. Okay, I'll just carry on.
Yep.
Wearing your feet around the house or not before last week's episode, but I've been ill with my throat filled with something called streptococcus for a week now.
Okay.
Isn't it streptococcus, isn't it? I mean, it's not much better.
I don't.
Still sounds
what
rude.
even is that?
Still a bit rude, isn't it?
Yeah. It's got coccus. The name is rather funny, but it hurts, and I'm really tired from the fever, so thanks for not laughing, Dave. Anyway, foot bet. Me and my mate at work were discussing how Americans always seem to wear their shoes around everywhere in movies and that. And he thought Brits did the same thing. I've decided to let you clear things up, which you did before Mr. Bell entered the discussion. We find both the practice kind. We both find the practice kind of disgusting. My former roommate, who comes from a very rural village in the mountainsides of Norway, would wear his shoes when going into bed for a daytime nap. Horror.
Ooh, oh no, that's too much.
Oh,
No,
I feel
fuck that.
sick. Personally,
Why'd you say fuck that? Because you said it was more comfortable than not having any shoes on.
Yeah, when
Didn't
you're
you,
walking
Sean?
around. No, because to me it's like
okay, fair enough. No, fair enough.
To me, shoes on indicates that I'm like doing stuff, right? Whereas shoes off is like I am at rest, right? I'm in bed or I'm on the sofa for the evening.
You're not wearing your shoes when you're showering then, like
No,
at the same time.
That's different, James. That's obvious. That's a practical
he's at rest
consideration.
in the shower. He's at rest in the shower.
Bit of private time.
When you
Okay,
take
Sean.
a dump.
Yeah, kick
when
them
you
off.
take a dump.
No, I leave them on. I leave them on.
Do you kick them off then? 'Cause you're like, I'm going to treat myself.
Yeah.
Take my shoes off.
Lock the door. No one can. You know what I'm like about my poos. Sanctuary. I love it.
when you do something, Sean, that's correct. You wear them when you're doing something. You don't wear them in bed.
Yeah.
Talk to me about lovemaking.
Well, obviously they come off for that. I mean, unless it's really spur of the moment, but obviously these days, not so much.
Unless I'm in the local woods.
We'll carry on. Personally, I prefer my feet au naturel. Birthday socks. Bare feet baby beans. That's a reference to my toes, of course. Anyway, my listening stories for this week is that I've never been able to burp my whole life, and I'm reviewing this Elden Ring to be a very good game. Cheers.
You've never been able to burp your whole life.
Yeah, there are some people that can't do that.
Isn't that like a legitimate, really bad health problem if you're not careful about it? Because obviously you're supposed to be able to. Like, how do you get out the gas? Does it all just come out the bot?
Is it true? Is it true that birds don't burp?
Yeah, because that's why you can kill them by giving them like.
Yeah, because that was always the thing, was the bicarbonate of soda thing.
Yeah,
like how you
make 'em
soak
explode.
the bread in bicarbonate of soda.
I mean, I don't think they literally explode, but yeah,
that's genuine concern from James Farley. There is it true that birds can't burp? I need to fucking David Attenborough.
I was going to say, do you think James says this sort of thing when he's working in the university?
yeah.
Sure, it's all right. Yeah. Sure, we'll put together a proposal. We can find out.
That's true. We do the research. Yeah. There'll be a grant for that. Easy. But yeah, no. So that does sound like bad news, not being able to burp.
Everyone's in trouble, but let's all fund James Farley's career. Go on. Right. let's see the next thing.
German government now. Go on.
Okay. Leon, is it me, or does it sound like Sean's son bullies him? Every episode, there's another story about how Sean's son ruins his life. Oh no, runs his life.
Runs his life.
I mean, I don't know if you've got kids, but if not, I've got some bad news for you. That's just kind of that's just kind of how it goes. Although Isaac is having like an especially combative phase at the moment. And it's pretty awful, to be honest. He's very hitty and very shouty at the moment. But yeah, so I'll try and. I mean, I'm doing him a disservice by just talking about what an arsehole he is every week. I'll tell some nice stories going forward.
There's the problem. You fall into that trap, do you? I'm trying to get out of that trap again, where you slag your kids off all the time because. You know, I find it a bit cringe to go, isn't my son great?
Well, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I find that a bit like, that you could, then you going the other way then, aren't you? And
exactly, because you can't be like, here's another story just to balance it out. When he fell asleep earlier, I just watched him for a bit and felt like crying. No one needs to hear that. That's not.
So my son, he's totally average. He's completely average. He's
no feelings towards him.
I know what you're saying though, Sean, about running a life. Like, I mean that. Because we were talking about this recently about how, could you imagine when you were a kid, I might have said this on the show, so I apologise if I did, but could you imagine as a kid walking into your front room where your parents are watching something on the telly and just going, off, something, I want this on, and the parents going, okay, because that's what we're doing.
Yep.
Like, that's what we're doing all day, every day. If they're up, it's fucking like CBeebies or Blippy or Zach Scott, right? It's nothing that we want to watch. Like, my dad, we watching cartoons for the 1 hour a day that you were allowed to watch cartoons when I was
the 1 hour a day that they were on. Like, that was it. That was a lot.
My dad would just walk in and go, this is going off. What? No, this is going off.
Some darts on.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, darts.
Snooker on.
Yeah, I've never really understood that. Never really understood it.
Yeah, so now we just try and get LED to watch some shows that we can actually bear.
Go on.
We're watching Rebels at the moment. It's actually quite good.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, no, we were watching Everybody Loves Raymond with Harry this morning.
Oh yeah.
You have to fast forward a couple of bits, but
do you?
Because we've tried Friends Friends there's a lot of sex chat in Friends.
Yeah. We were going to watch that with Rachel, and then we were like, watch the first episode. Like, no, maybe not. Yeah.
Plus some of it being like genuinely problematic now as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. Well, I mean,
no, absolutely. I'm not saying-
everybody
I'm not
loves
saying, "No,
Raymond's
Friends is
even
shit."
worse.
But yeah.
No, everybody loves Raymond even worse, mate.
Really?
The whole thing for the show is, aren't women annoying? That's it. That's the premise for the show. That one.
Blimey.
Okay,
Right,
let's
okay.
move on. Fan favourite Capone Adam has got in touch. Hello, Capone
okay.
Adam here. On the last episode, you misrepresented my take on the Mario movie. So here I am to represent my pitch on how I would do the Mario movie.
Okay.
Strap in, everyone. The Mario movie begins with Charles Martinet being called into a meeting room at Nintendo and being told that they will not be renewing his contract and is soon to be replaced by Chris Pratt. Not only this, but Chris Pratt has requested to spend 2 weeks with Charles on the road to study his performance. Charles has no option.
Wait. This is in the movie. This
I
bit
think
is
so,
in
yeah.
the movie.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
the Mario
well,
movie
so
begins
the
with
movie
yeah.
begins. So Martinet in the meeting room, Nintendo are like, we're not renewing your contract.
Okay.
Chris Pratt's on board. Chris Pratt's like, okay, but also I want to spend 2 weeks with Martinet on the road to study his performance. Charles has no option but to oblige. The first half of the movie is Charles Martinet making life difficult for Chris Pratt. They are chalk and cheese. This resulted in multiple comedic antics by Martinet, aimed at making Chris Pratt look out of his depth in the art of voice acting. However, due to some remarkable events along the way, Martinet opens up about how he destroyed his relationship with his own child, his beloved daughter Abby. Chris Pratt, despite Martinet's antics, is able to help Charles rebuild his relationship with his daughter Abby. Tragically, oh god, maybe I should have proofread this email. Tragically, during a fatal accident, Martinet only has hours to live, eventually
But
leaving.
it's okay. This is all in the film. This isn't real.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
fiction.
it's made
yeah.
up. It's all made up. It's
Tragically,
fine.
during a fatal accident, Martinet only has hours to live, eventually leading to a devastating scene in a hospital where Martinet slowly turns to Chris Pratt while pointing a finger saying, "It's you, a Mario." During the closing moments of the movie, Chris Pratt is in the Nintendo offices as Miyamoto storms in, clearly distressed. Miyamoto says the actress set to play Princess Peach has pulled out and asks if Chris knows anyone. "I do indeed," says Chris. "What's her name?" Miyamoto replies. "Abby. Her name's Abby."
Oh man, I'm
What a
willing up.
twist. What a twist.
You were genuinely welling up there, James, or?
A little bit.
We've already established James doesn't have any feelings.
I didn't represent it, Capone. You've just written a completely new script there. That's not what you told me the
This is a
first time.
second draft,
Heard
Dave.
of a Mario film. The first time we found out Chris Pratt was playing Mario, you had this whole thing about Mario loses his true voice and has to get it back, right? That was what you said. None of it. This was just made up today, mate. Like, unbelievable.
I know,
I
but
like
I
it.
also appreciate the idea that he's just every time it comes up, he's just going to be like, no, you got it all wrong. This is the idea.
Yeah,
of the film.
yeah,
It's
this
something
is it.
completely
It's a
different.
completely new one. Yeah.
The next one's going to be,
I'd
in
watch
reverse
it.
order, like Memento.
I'd watch it.
Oh,
Okay,
definitely.
next.
Hey, Mr. Spaceman. Hi, can we get a Patreon tier or goal for what James said on the bus? Can't believe Dave said he regretted apologising. He was joking, right? Right? Love the show. Congrats on reaching 300.
No, I regret apologising. Mainly because I apologised for Matt, and then he keeps bringing up about like taking the piss out of me apologising. That was
I think you find you
what happened there.
on I do these days.
See what I mean? Really got so under my skin that he's like, I can't believe you apologised, Dave.
James and
And I was like,
James and I
did it for
both
you,
appreciate
Matt.
the apology at the time, didn't we, James?
I did it for you. Yeah, but I didn't do it for them. I did it for you, Matt. I did it for you, and you've thrown it in my face ever since. Look at that. Look how red your cheeks are going because you know the truth.
Should have opened a window.
The problem is, right, with the bus thing, I mean, legitimately, it'd be the worst reveal of all time now. For starters, it's been like 3
I don't think
years
it would. I
build
think
up.
people would love it. I think people would love it, but I appreciate why it would make James feel weird and vulnerable.
Oh, God, yeah. But also, it was so linked to what was going on at that time within the show, because there was arguments going on within the show. That's why I threatened to tell everyone about it, because it completely went against everything he was arguing for at that time. And yeah, James, can you think about it?
Yeah.
What is
You
your
hear the
price,
words
James?
in
Have
your
you
head
got
right now?
Have you got a figure in mind?
Like £500 Patreon tier. I mean, what do you think?
Wow.
I mean,
Really
if they club
mugging
together,
fans off. Yeah.
together,
Oh my god, yeah, they might start a Kickstarter. A
That would
community
be
fund.
the most disappointing like thing to spend money on.
okay, right, okay. So there's a lot of people in the chat saying that they're piecing together even more clues from what we've just said. So let's move on. I think we should move on.
Yes. Simon Moorcraft, listener, story time. Evening all, and congrats on hitting episode 300. I thought this would be a good opportunity to say thank you. As many people do, I've been through some rough times recently, as just over 6 months ago, my wife and I separated after 10 years of being together. I'm incredibly lucky to have an amazing family that's been helping me through it, but these evenings and weekends where I don't have my 2 incredible daughters with me can be difficult. When living on your own, loneliness can creep in, and when it does, it hits you hard. However, what I found has helped me is putting on TCGS. Whether it's an old or new pod episode or something on YouTube or Twitch, when I'm doing a washing up or cooking dinner, it always brightens up my day, and for that I can't thank you enough. So thank you from me and for everyone else who helped through difficult times. Sorry for a long email, Simon. And yeah, also PS, sorry I can't make it to TCGSCON as it's my mum's birthday that weekend, and I can't imagine it will go down well that a 37-year-old son won't be seeing her on her birthday because he's travelling up to Sheffield to play Laser Quest and watching a live podcast about computer games. But if there's ever a TCGSCon South, then I'm there. Thank you, Simon.
Just explain to her what you've just explained to us. Just say, listen, this podcast has meant something so much to me recently, and you've not done anything. So I'm going to Sheffield for some Laser Quest. No, Simon, I mean, thanks so much, and we're really, I mean, it's really humbling to hear that we're helping anyone in any way, because we shouldn't be. I mean, this should not be help for anyone. But I will say this, and I mean, we've said this a number of times, but it's worth repeating. The past 3 years, I was chatting recently to a few close friends, and I said, it's weird, isn't it weird? Like, when the pandemic all started, everyone was like, when this finishes, we're all going to go out on like massive parties and it's going to be a big celebration. And then that didn't happen, yet we're still expected to continue. And there's all these stories, like hundreds and thousands of stories, like that people going through personal stuff, whether it be something specific like your email, Simon, or whether it be something a little bit more general, like everyone going through the pandemic and stuff like that. It's been a fucking shit couple of years, like a really tough years for literally everyone. And the only thing I can say in a reply to that is that not only have I used other podcasts to sort of get me through in a similar way.
He doesn't like this one. He doesn't like doing this one. This one doesn't count.
No. I'm getting to it.
Other podcasts. It's not that.
No, listening to other podcasts, I can, has got me through. But also, I mean, we've all said it before that using this podcast as a device to, when we're recording, to forget everything else, which might not be the most healthy thing to do, but it certainly helped us get through things. So what I'm trying to say is that we're with you, Simon, 100%, man. Like, life can be tough at the moment, and it's cool that we're all trying to help each other get through it. Know what I mean?
I guess alternatively, does she like Laser Quest, and would she want to do that? I was going to
say, yeah, people in the chat just saying, bring your mum, Simon.
That's it.
Tickets
Simon,
still available.
Tickets are still available, but be quick. They are running out.
It's better than a voucher.
Could you imagine that?
Never had that as a birthday present. Like,
opening that up.
Someone had a £10 Boots voucher. What's this? 4 hours of Laser Quest and a podcast about computer games and a meet and greet afterwards for 15 quid. Hello.
Yeah. I'm in. Is Matt Murray going to be there? Yes. Oh, maybe.
I'm out.
Let me get the money back.
I'm out.
It. Bring your mum. Bring your mum. That should have been the slogan for our live show. Bring your mum. No, that's right. Okay, is that it, Matt?
Floor. Yes. Go to tcgs.co/deartcgs. Leave your feedback or anything else you want to do. You know what I mean?
All right. It's time for the news. James Farley.
Hang on, before he starts, I'm just going to quietly I'm just showing everyone on Twitch the firefighters who set fire to themselves.
Why would you do that? That's horrible. Can't we get banned for that?
No, they're not actually hurting themselves. Just their clothes are on fire. Fuck's sake.
Sounds like they're hurting themselves.
Not like the Buddhist monk who actually literally like set fire to it. No, they're just their clothes are on fire, Dave. It's fine.
I'm looking at the chat and everyone's saying, "Oh Jesus, oh my God, oh Jesus, this is horrific. That's horrible."
No
Mitch
one's saying
Scheismar
it's
says,
horrible.
"I've just thrown up." The Scientologist says, "I'm crying. What are you doing?"
I think someone's left. Yeah, I've quit Twitch.
One person has left. We've gone down one listener. One viewer, yeah. Right, come. Let's get some news, James.
That's really annoying. I was
Here,
just
Matt. Are you Go on, James.
okay. Am I okay? Am I safe to actually do this, or is somebody else going to
No,
interrupt
it's
me?
fine. Go ahead.
No, well, whatever you want in your own time.
Microsoft reportedly no, it didn't work. I was going to say it really quickly, but it didn't work.
Microsoft
Okay.
reportedly didn't work.
Okay, so Microsoft apparently are going to launch a cloud streaming device in the next year.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now I got excited and thought, Jesus, this is going to be a handheld thing, but it's not, is it? It's
No.
going to be that little box thing that we've been speaking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where Matt and
it's-
James
a
are saying that they absolutely won't sell it with a controller.
Never
No,
said that.
that.
When did
Oh,
anyone
not
say
this
that?
Sean,
What?
back me up here. That's
No,
what they were saying, wasn't it?
I
No,
did not
I
say
just
that.
don't want to get into it again.
It's true though. That's what they said. Why are you defending
Yeah.
them?
No,
Why are
I'm
you
not
saying,
defending
no,
anyone.
Getting involved. Come
defending
on,
them.
you know it's true.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't
no,
believe
it
James
was.
is saying I never said that when he said it for about 30 minutes on a podcast.
There's
once.
no way I said that. That would be crazy. There's no way
I
I
know.
said that.
That's what I was saying to you. You went, oh yeah, but they want to get as many people in as possible, keep it as cheap as possible. We were saying, yeah, but also they can sell it with a controller. No, I don't see it. I don't see it. Oh God, right, okay. This is gonna be another one of those
Play it back to me,
situations.
Dave. Play it back to me. Go on.
I'll play it
Go on.
back. Now, brilliant, because I'm going to clip that, then go back and listen to the thing and add that in and put it on Twitter. Here we go. Lovely.
Never said
Go
it.
on.
Never said that.
Fucking did,
Can't
James.
wait for that.
I can't. I mean, I
Right.
can believe that Matt said that, but I definitely didn't say that.
No, are
you
you
said it
all
worked.
taking the piss? Like I said, obviously to get a controller.
No, you didn't say that either. No,
I'll tell you what, while
Matt,
this is
you
going on,
insisted
I'll
they
ju-
would
I'll
never
just
sell
keep
it with a controller.
I'll keep scrolling down the news story and everyone can just read it for themselves while we get.
Fuck's sake. Yeah, right.
All right. Anyway, okay.
So this is going to be their little box thing that they stick into the TV, right?
Yeah.
There's
This is
that,
what we're
and there's
talking
also going to be an app for Samsung smart TVs as well, so that you can connect via that.
Why
as
just
well.
Samsung?
Because they've probably done
Yeah,
a deal with them,
cool.
innit?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, but they did deal with LG like only
Put it on
last
fucking
year.
Android. Most TVs run on Android now, don't they?
I don't know about most.
No,
A lot of them do, don't they?
I don't know. I've not asked.
No. I mean,
Sorry, I'll reduce that again. Mine does.
yeah, there we go.
I mean, we've been through this, Dave. I've got a high sense, right? It barely runs on anything. Runs on
Has it
fucking
got
gas.
like its own? Has it got its own OS name? Is
Yeah.
it like High's View?
It's
Something
literally
like
it's called like U View or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
like
You
that.
view menu.
Yeah.
Menu 1. They list each menu as a number. you're in menu 3.
Anyway, yes, I don't know why it's just Samsung. I mean, yes, I'm sure I done a deal, and maybe it's just like they get first dibs, but this needs to be everywhere, absolutely everywhere.
Please sign in with your UView account to synchronize all your settings across all your Hyacinth devices.
Hyacinth,
Is that what you said?
that's my favorite flower.
Isn't that the woman from
Hyacinth bouquet.
Keeping Up Appearances?
Yeah.
The bouquet residence. Sorry, right, where were we? We're talking about Microsoft making a device. Okay, right, good for them. Good
It's
for
good
them.
though, isn't it? I mean, but also they've done this the right way in a sense. You know, like they built up xCloud, they've got all the software, it's all there, ready to be played. It's like the opposite of Stadia. So it's like, you know, it's like release the
Oh,
hardware
wouldn't it be
first.
wicked if
and
they
then do
just
it.
released a little handheld though, man? Like a £50 fucking handheld.
A £50 handheld. What's it gonna?
Yeah, why not?
What's it gonna do? For, yeah, why not? Yeah. So 50. What you mean? Like the quality of a Switch or Steam Deck for 50 quid?
Well, for starters, it wouldn't need any of the gubbins inside of either of those machines.
Well, it would,
So-
because it's still got to play like 1080p video, which is
Got to stream shit. It needs a screen and a fucking Raspberry Pi in it. How much is a Raspberry Pi? 10 quid?
what, they're like 30 quid, something like that. Depends. There's different ones, but yeah.
Okay, maybe a little bit more than 50 then. Shut up, Sean. Shut
I'm
up.
just ruining it, aren't
You are ruining
If
it.
Xbox brought out a handheld console for 100 quid or less, would you buy it then? Well, if it's just
Yes.
like, but you can just plug your phone into like one of those like.
Yeah, you
grip
just get a
things.
controller for your phone.
But no one wants to do that ever.
No, because it's horrible, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
just
it is horrible.
it is horrible. Those things.
I want to use my phone as well. I don't want to
Yeah, that is annoying to be fair. And I'm suddenly like holding the phone like it's a massive like thing with the controllers either side just to send a stupid
There's
tweet.
still something to be said for having like dedicated devices for stuff, especially because then you get like better quality. Like well, I was going to say you get better quality, but you don't with the Joy-Cons because they break all the time. But in general, like the idea that you got like better controller and stuff,
Like I was absolutely gutted when that Ambonic device didn't play cloud gaming stuff well,
problems,
because I
didn't
just thought that would have been so fucking perfect.
You see, mine does play them, the Retro Pocket 2 Plus, but it's on such a tiny screen and it's a 4x3 one as well, so it's not.
Does
like,
it
it's very
really
funny.
reduce it down as well?
Yeah, like it's very funny to do like 5 minutes of Forza Horizon 4 on a tiny screen, but yeah, after a bit, it's not actually how you want to play anything new, really.
Oh, mate, I seriously, the ideal scenario would be for Microsoft to say you could download the Game Pass app on the Switch. Like, honestly, I'm not even kidding. That would be it for me. That'd be, okay, fine, perfect.
I can't see that happening now.
No, it'll never happen, but it's
Dreams
so
up there.
frustrating. How good would that be?
But I mean,
Shit.
also the fact is, for a fact, there must have Microsoft must have so many prototypes in house where they've like tried to do a handheld console and investigated it. There must be loads in house. So
Yeah, they must have thought about
They
it.
haven't. I bet they haven't even thought of it. I bet someone will go, let's do a handheld device, and they'll go, oh yeah, shit, should we do that? Yeah, good idea.
Like
Brian,
the
is
music
it?
man. Like the music man.
Yeah, like the music man, just like the music man.
Music man.
Does
Yeah,
it
this
play
is great.
MP6?
This is great, and it backs up my prediction. A lot of people saying.
Sorry, what?
It backs up my prediction about them releasing a stick this year. That's what I fucking said, David.
I think you said it.
hang on, wait a minute.
They have
Did
to
he-
sell it without a controller. So
Question, right? Did Matt say it was a stick that they were going to release?
he did.
Because the rumours for this is it's going to be a puck. Which
I mean,
means...
Oh my god.
James says here, according to VentureBeat, it may be a stick or a puck.
I know, but then recently
Doesn't say.
people have been saying it's going to be a puck.
I mean,
all right. Well, whether it's a puck or a stick, I don't know. But
I did 100% say it'll be with a controller. Or David said, no, of course it won't be with a controller. They didn't want to make it as cheap as possible. I said, no, imagine a bundle. But forget about it. But
you reckon? Wait, Matt, can I ask you a question? Do you
Yes.
genuinely think that that's the conversation we had?
I genuinely... I
You
thought
think that I
thought-
was saying
then.
they'll only sell it without a controller? You think that's what I was saying?
Oh, God, have I lost my...
This
have I
is
lost
going to
my
be
mind?
absolutely amazing, Sean. When they hear this back,
I genuinely thought you were doing a bit then because
See,
you
I
were like,
also
trying to, like,
honestly don't remember this conversation. But then
this
I'm
is
pretty
gonna be
certain
so
I
good.
didn't say that.
I thought I did remember it. It was my way. James does remember it, and David thinks it's his way. So I mean,
I know it's 100% my way. I can't wait for you to hear that back. Okay, go on. Let's move on.
I said,
Okay,
Fuck, what the Christ
so
me.
more Xbox Cloud stuff is that Xbox have also partnered with Epic now, so that Fortnite you can play it, on XCloud.
You can play in.
You can play Fortnite.
Yeah,
You can
But
play
it's free,
Fortnite.
right?
Okay.
You don't need a subscription. That's the,
yeah. You don't. You
play
don't need the sub,
Fortnite.
yeah.
You just
So-
need a Microsoft account. That's it.
You just you sign in with the Microsoft account through your web browser or whatever, and then you can play Fortnite on your phone or wherever you want to. Yeah, it's very
good for
exciting. Yeah.
Have any of us tried it yet?
Is anyone
When's the
still
last time
playing
you played
Fortnite?
Fortnite?
This
Yeah.
is my question. Is it
Yes,
still
I
massive?
think millions of people
Yes,
are still
it is.
playing
Is
Fortnite,
Fortnite
yes.
still massive? I mean, so it's made about 20 million before we started. Like by the time we started this show.
I know, but you
To
never
now.
hear about it anymore, do you? Apart from
You want to see how many hype trains they got?
Yeah,
Yeah,
quite a few.
They got
few.
four. They got four of them.
Well, because they added the no build mode, which I think has actually brought quite a lot of people in.
Yeah,
Even I've
definitely.
been curious because
And now
I've
you
always
can
been put
vote.
off by the building stuff,
Yeah.
but apparently the no build mode is actually well good.
Yeah, I admittedly on my Twitter.com timeline, I haven't seen many people talk about this, but I when this news broke, I did say to you lot on WhatsApp, I'm fascinated to see what the performance is going to be like and if this is actually viable, but I haven't heard much myself. But no, this is, I mean, great if you're into Fortnite, and the fact it's free to play on any phone, no account, no subscription required. That's a pretty cool move.
Do you want to hear a quote about
Yes.
it?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Always. Does it say something about our partnership with Epic is fucking...
Yeah. So this is Xbox Cloud Gaming VP Catherine
Here we
Gluckstein.
go.
She says, it's an important step to add a free-to-play title to the cloud gaming catalogue as we continue our cloud journey. We're starting with Fortnite, and we'll look to bring more free-to-play games people love in the future.
Oh, Rocket League.
That'd be
Rocket
all right.
League. Switch
right.
Switch Sports Soccer. One of the
Same
two.
thing.
One of the two. Either
Either way, it
or.
doesn't matter. Yeah,
Same as.
No.
yeah.
No difference.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Next news story is there was. I don't know. Did any of you have the outage with the Xbox stuff? With
Rapid
the,
with these, isn't he?
This was weird. This. So, yes, sort of. So I tried to launch a game on my Xbox over the weekend. I didn't think anything of it until you posted this news story in the chat in our WhatsApp group. But I tried to launch a game over the weekend, and it said, yeah, you might want to make this Xbox your home Xbox. And I thought, oh no, they're stopping the game share
Finally,
thing.
yeah.
It's gone. It's gone. So I closed it down and then opened it again, and it worked fine. So I'm assuming that was linked in some way. And also, last night, John got booted from Xbox Live for a short period of time, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Yeah,
So I'm guessing it's all linked.
Yeah, so what it was is it started on Friday last week, and basically there was the servers were experiencing outages, and so people weren't able to like buy games or launch games or start like cloud gaming sessions either. Like there were problems generally with Xbox Live. Then on Saturday they said we fixed it, it's fine, there's no problems. But then some people disagreed with that and said we're still having problems. And then they came back and said we fixed it, it's fine. However, at the moment, people are still having problems as well, and so it's still it's still an issue that's going on. But the thing that this was on Video Games Chronicle, there was a number of people like on Twitter that were talking about this and were complaining about Xbox's online DRM policy, because it seems that what happens is that whenever you run any game, well, pretty much any game that you're running on Xbox, it calls home. You know, it like has to connect to the server before it will start. And so this means that if there are problems with the network or whatever, you really just cannot play the games. And so the comparison was made with PlayStation and Switch, whereby you can, like if you've, you know, the games still work basically if the network goes down, as long as you're playing with the account that you bought that game for, there's no further checks that are done. But I mean, as we were talking about on WhatsApp, I don't feel that that's probably because they're being particularly generous. It's just that
Just don't know how to change it.
Exactly. Oh, well, you mean Sony and Nintendo now? I mean, yeah. I like as I said, that you know, there's weird, complicated stuff with Nintendo machines as well, where if you've got two switches and you want to play a digital game, then you can play that digital game anywhere offline on one switch, but not the other, right? So it's like some weird stuff like that. But it seems like the Xbox One is a blanket. I was most
sure
of the games you
that
have to
wasn't
check in.
the case. I thought anything if you're signed in on your, you know, the account that's like on the Xbox that is set as your home Xbox,
Yes.
main one, whatever they call it, I thought you could play your digitally purchased
So did
games. I don't know about Game Pass stuff. I imagine that still requires a check. I don't know. Maybe that's wrong.
I thought what it was that there was like a time period or whatever where you know, like you log in and then it's all good for like.
That's what
like
they
a week,
spoke
a
about
month,
when they
wasn't it?
originally, you know, when they were launching the Xbox One. That's what they spoke about. They said, "Oh yeah, no, it's every like 12 hours or something. It will want to check."
Right.
But I don't know, man. Like, I don't. If that's how they do it, that's how they do it. I mean, it's amazing that we've got this far into this system for Xbox, and this is the first time people seem to have noticed that it's doing this.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I'm sure it was known to people that look into it, but I'm saying like it hasn't been a problem up until now, which is pretty mad, isn't it? But is it a problem? Probably is, right? Because I mean, it would suck if I took my Xbox somewhere and I couldn't play any of my games on it.
Well, exactly, yeah, because obviously, yeah, there's the potential use case that you might, like, say, you might take your Xbox somewhere else, you might find yourself without internet because of no fault of your own, but also, like, yeah, if the fault is on Microsoft's end, that's even worse because you've got no say in that, have you? There's no way it's your fault or your ISP's fault. It's the people that are supposed to be providing the service. That is shocking.
Well, it also means that, I mean, this is impossible that this would ever happen. But if like Microsoft ever went, like all their entire service just went down completely, you're never getting any of that stuff back. It's gone. It's
which is
just completely gone.
yeah, but
which is
that's
something
oh, no.
like, but digital distribution in general. This is a problem that we still don't really have a good answer for, apart from pirate it in 20 years when no one's going to mind as much. There's no long-term solution for what happens when the servers go dark. Which, as you say, all right, with Microsoft, it's hard to imagine, but not, it's eventually inevitable in some way or another, right?
Mm.
So, yeah.
But yeah, well, when I posted this news story, I was like, should we talk about this? Because I'd seen news stories about it, but it hadn't affected me, and I didn't know how widespread it actually was. But it affected you, David.
Yeah, well, only for like a split second. I don't even know if it was linked, but I did think it was weird that it was saying, "Oh, set this one as your home Xbox."
I mean, it has to be linked. That's the exact error that other people were getting. So
yeah, but it was really weird how quickly it just resolved itself by closing the game and then reopening it. I literally nearly text James
maybe
and
no
said,
one's
"The
done
game's over, my friend. The game is over. We are
maybe
done."
no one complaining. Microsoft, no one thought, have you thought about restarting the game? No one's done that, and then
yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah, people just instantly turned it off and then went on the internet. That wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. Okay.
Politics.
Okay, still with Microsoft, New York the New York City Employees Retirement System and Pension Funds have filed a suit against Activision Blizzard over its sale to Microsoft. So the complaint basically is they're saying that the sale was rushed through because they were trying to avoid all the problems that there were in the company, all the gender discrimination lawsuits and that kind of thing. And the quote they said, given Kotick's personal responsibility and liability for Activision's broken workplace, it should have been clear to the board that he was unfit to negotiate a sale of the company. And then also, so they said, Activision have come back. This was from Games Industry.biz, and they came back to them and said, we disagree with the allegations made in this complaint and look forward to presenting our arguments in court. But yeah. So they're basically saying that Bobby Kotick is not a fit person to have negotiated this deal, and so therefore it's it shouldn't. Maybe I don't know if they're saying they shouldn't be allowed to go forward, but it should be queried.
I mean, we all thought this, right? Like it's not.
Yeah,
it's good to see someone the action's actually being taken, but yeah, of course it occurred to everyone that it's like, oh well, now we can just fucking take the money and run, and that will be the end of it for Bobby Kotick. He's even more disgustingly rich than he was before. It's I'd be interested to see how this goes. I
wonder if this is going to go through smoothly, or if because of the size of the deal and the size of the two companies, and also the Bobby Kotick thing, it's going to have just a lot more people trying to stop it than usual. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
I think there's more likelihood it's going to be FTC or whatever stopping it than this kind of thing, though. I mean, this is also the next story I've got, which is that the FTC are also probing Sony's acquisition of Bungie as well, and
I don't know what angle they can take to step in over that. It makes no sense. How can the FTC how can they be reviewing both acquisitions? I don't know. It's
maybe they got two teams.
No. I mean, surely the fact that if they're reviewing both acquisitions, it would mean that obviously both can go through. The FTC are looking for possible buyouts of too many companies, right? They overlook the mergers.
What they're looking at is they're looking at how this is going to impact the marketplace, and whether one of the things that with the Bungie deal that they're most looking at is the idea that stuff will become exclusive to PlayStation and stuff, and then it won't be able to be played on other machines. And that's something that Sony have said is not going to happen. They said that Best Destiny and all that kind of stuff is still going to be coming out on Xbox and other platforms, but that's what they're going for. But yeah. They're becoming very aggressive, like the FTC, with going after these mergers and acquisitions now, because there's been so many of them in the past. So many of these have happened, which are now in retrospect viewed as being maybe they weren't a great idea. So the big one that's always held up is always Facebook and WhatsApp, or Facebook and Instagram and things like that, and whether those should have been allowed to have been merged or not. And yes, and that's one of the reasons why they're looking at these much more.
What I don't get is that if the angle is they shouldn't be allowed to make their games exclusive onto their system, then where's the line? Because that's been going on for years and it's still going on to this day.
Do they then have to look at exclusivity deals and stuff?
Yeah. Do they say okay, you can have exclusives, but only 3 a year each.
You can have
Is that
exclusives.
like it's not going to
retail
work, is it?
skins. That's it.
Yeah.
You can't have the cool. Don't have the cool guns. The cool guns are going to be on both. The shit guns, no one cares about. Not the cool ones.
See, and I
Got
was
to be everywhere. Fact. Put it in the
I was going to
contract.
say, like, with the Sony case, it seems like less of a point because it's one game. Like, technically, it's maybe like like it's Destiny, isn't it? But then with Activision Blizzard, how many games is it? It's about 4 games, isn't it? Because they don't make that many different games anymore. So it's like odd.
Okay.
Anyway, next story is that Nintendo contractors are being criticising the company and the culture and the treatment they've been receiving. So these are contractors. So these are like people that are working part time for the company. And IGN have done a report talking about how they've been treated while they've been working for the company. And they said the biggest problem that a lot of them have is that Nintendo are not they're very reluctant to convert people to full-time staff. So it's very difficult to move into like full-time work with the company. And also, like one of the sources said that there was like a death in her family and she was forced to like go home. And then she was doing an interview process for becoming full-time staff, and they just said, she had attendance issues. She couldn't, so she couldn't like join it. And there was also this other time when there was part-time people were working, and they were moved to online work because of coronavirus. Then an office was closed in California, and then Nintendo put pressure on those people to move like to where there was a new office, even though there was no real need to do so. So there's been lots of sort of talk about how there's this sort of there's sort of 2 classes of work here. There's like contractors and people that are full employees, and they don't really receive the same treatment at all or benefits.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard one to talk about because I think in any company there's a difference between full-time work and contract work, right? You must have seen it within your own businesses that there are beneficial aspects to both sides of the work, but there's that difference in treatment.
But that's usually but there's a difference, isn't there, between like contract work because it is obviously by definition like a temporary post or a temporary thing that needs doing, and then there's this, which is clearly people who probably should be full-time, but this is just a way of just not giving them the benefits of full-time employees.
Yeah.
Which is really shit, and we've seen the same with Activision Blizzard as well. There's been a whole thing with, I think it was specifically with Raven, the QA staff. Yeah, they've been fighting the same thing as well. It just feels like a bit of a loophole in this case, doesn't it? Rather than, as you say, that of course there are legitimate reasons to contract work out rather than officially hiring someone to do it, but this is not it.
I've always found it a bit weird. Like in my line of business, whenever you see someone working on contract, you just kind of think, I don't get what you're getting out of that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's maybe I'm just being ignorant or whatever.
I know people who
isn't contractual business.
Yeah.
Sorry, Matt, go ahead, sorry.
You don't see what a contractor's getting out of it, or you don't see what a business is getting out of it.
I don't see what the contractors are getting out of it. Of course, you see what the business is getting out of it. Then they don't have to commit. They don't have to give the same benefits, like in terms of holiday pay and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I know people who've gone, who've taken that route. So they've essentially gone freelance and become contractors in some cases, like at the business they used to work at full time, and to them it's beneficial because they're well known enough in their field that they can pick and choose what they want to do, and they command like a day rate that's good enough to, as you say, to forego those benefits. So I think a small minority, I think it does work because it gives them that freedom. But by and large, even then, they would have situations where, I think I can say this because I'm not going to say who it is. They were literally like, they're working at an agency, like a marketing agency, and then just got an email on a Wednesday saying like, oh yeah, sorry, we don't need you anymore. And I think they only had like a week and a half left, but literally like, oh yeah, we don't need you anymore. And then the email ended with, weekend starts early. Like,
Jesus
like,
Christ,
just fucking sacked.
That's terrible. But like
the entire university sector is like this for teaching. It's like it's almost entirely based on using short-term contracts for people.
I do need to step in though and say that I'm not saying they've chosen to be work on contract. They've chosen this lifestyle. Like that's not excusing the way they're being treated. I think there is an important conversation to be had, but how do you even delve into it without knowing, like, not everything, but without knowing more information? Do you know what I mean? I mean, it sounds shit. I'm not saying, hey, there might be a reason why Nintendo, I'm not saying
Actually,
that
it
whatsoever.
might be good.
Clearly,
Yeah.
there's something going wrong here. But how do we talk about even addressing it until we know exactly what's going wrong here? Do you know what I mean? It's way too complicated.
Yeah,
Okay. Reggie has got a book that he's plugging at the moment, which is called Disrupting the
Reggie.
Game.
Reggie, who we should
Reggie's
say
like
has
someone-
completely distanced himself.
Yeah,
From all the contract
he
stuff.
said this is not the
Unsurprisingly.
Nintendo that I recognise, and
Oh, really?
Well, you probably should have
Can
paid
you-
more attention then, mate. I don't
it's
know.
not the Nintendo I recognise. And please, can you buy my book? So he's got this book out called Disrupting the Game, and one of the things which people
Love
have
it.
pulled out from this is it's about the Game Boy Micro, because he talks about how Nintendo of America felt
Fucking
about
hated
the
it,
Game Boy
didn't he?
Micro.
He fucking hated that little
So-
machine. Which, look at Sean's face. He loved it. He loved
Can
it.
we- can we
do you
the
know,
quotes?
this is something I've come to terms with over the years.
What's that?
Because I've got a couple of Game Boy Micros in a drawer, and for years I was like, why is everyone always going on about the GBA SP? Clearly, the Game Boy Micro is the best one. It had interchangeable faceplates. What more do you want?
That's all you need, isn't it?
Can we-
yeah.
okay.
But in
So-
hindsight, Game Boy Micro is too fucking small.
Well, this was
Clearly.
one of the points. So I'm gonna read what he said about this.
Okay,
so
sorry.
he said, from my perspective, the concept of Game Boy Micro was a non-starter. The hardware was exceptionally small. Not only were the control buttons difficult for any reasonably sized adult to manipulate, but also the screen was tiny. This ran counter to current consumer electronics trends of making screens larger. But development of this hardware had continued, and now we were forced to launch the system. We should have talked about this a long ago. I told Nintendo of America colleagues Don,
long
James,
ago?
and Mike Fukuda. We should have all agreed that this product would be a distraction for us in our market and either not introduce it here or have it terminated as a project globally. By working together, we could have had a different outcome. My point was not to rebuke them. At that time, we were peers. It was to identify that we were operating in silos, and this made us ineffective in managing products coming from NCL. Nintendo of Japan.
That's it. Well, that's
So, yeah.
that's from Reggie's book.
Yes, yeah.
Fucking hell, that sounds like a boring book, doesn't it? Honestly, get that. The way he's worded that. Just go. I
mean,
thought
you
it was
say
shit.
that,
And we
but
had
if
an
this-
argument. I thought it was really shit.
But if this is available on Audible and it's him reading it, I'll
100%.
spend a credit on that.
Either him
No
or
danger.
Charles Martinet, or Charles Martinet and Chris Pratt reading at the same time in both their versions of Mario's voice. That's what I'd ask for. At the same time.
How large did the face buttons on the Game Boy Micro compare to the face buttons on the Switch? Because they're
They're the
pretty
same.
tiny.
I
They're
think,
exactly
the
the same,
size. It's
aren't
not
they?
the size of the buttons. It's just that because the unit itself is so. I
Yeah,
can
it's
show
like
you
that,
on, if
isn't
you're on
it?
Twitch.
Yeah, go on. Are you on there? Have you got it? Close by.
Yeah, somewhere.
Have a look under the rug. Have a look in the grooves of your shoe. They are small.
Interesting hearing these stories come out.
Look at that. Oh, it's not that small.
Tiny. Yeah, but if you're a grown adult trying to get your hands around it, it's,
What's about?
I don't know. It's a bit shit.
Okay.
Shame.
Okay.
But this book doesn't terribly interest me, but it's pretty cool. We're getting some of these behind the scenes.
I hope not. I would prefer if it was more of a like, and fucking Shigeru Miyamoto was actually a prick. Everyone loves him, but he turned up once and he called me Reggie Fils. I'm not gonna finish that.
I'm hoping that there should
Reggie
be like
feels
chapters,
like
like entire chapters on like Wii Music and stuff like that. Like, what did he think of Wii Music?
Could you imagine that? If he just really hated it, and he just ripped
just
it
every
to
chapter is just like.
600.
And here's another thing I knew was shit that everyone else wanted to do.
Chapter 7, Vitality Sensor.
Chapter 8, when Charles Martinet stayed for 3 months and we couldn't get rid of him. It opens. I entered the office to hear Charles Martinet screaming Mario quotes from the other side. We asked him to leave. He said no. Right, okay.
Okay, next story is apparently there are no concrete plans for Shenmue 4.
Oh,
Says
no.
Yu Suzuki.
Oh, we'll never
Yeah.
finish the story now.
Bloody hell. Well,
Yeah.
Do you
this
care
after
about the
Next
story,
story.
James?
I do.
I was very disappointed by that game. I mean, the thing is it really highlighted how much things have moved on, like in a huge, huge way. Like playing that game, and it's like, yeah, it's disappointing. I mean, it's a game that I've given up on now. Like, I don't really care that much anymore. Like, I've still
I
got good
know
memories
you
of the
really
first one.
cared about it. It's so sad you
I know.
really cared about that game.
I did, and it's just, yeah, it is a huge shame. I mean, it turns out, I mean, so in the UK, Shenmue 3 sold like a little more than half of Shenmue 1 and 2's remaster. Like,
Wow.
no one bought it.
I really like the bit here where it says, according to Famitsu, Suzuki said that Shenmue 3 was a work made for the fans, with the fans in mind, and was a crowdfunded Kickstart title for this reason. Nothing to do with the fact that no one had given him the money
Yeah.
otherwise,
Absolutely not,
right?
And also, those fans fucking hated it.
Well, yeah.
And also, I mean, I was angry to a degree that they didn't finish the story either with that. Like, I mean, that's just taking the piss, isn't it? Like,
Well,
really,
yeah,
you know,
this
like
is the whole thing of it was like, yeah, we had Shenmue 1 and 2, and it was like, oh, fuck, man, Landee never got his arse kicked.
comeuppance.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh my god, we're getting Shenmue 3, right, brilliant, we can finally put this to bed. And then didn't Yu Suzuki just be like, oh no, there's actually 9 chapters, I'm George Lucas.
Yeah.
We're 20% the way through the story. James, does it end with a cliffhanger, or does it just end with to be
It
continued?
does. Yeah, it's
Actually,
not with
fuck.
it's not with to be continued, but it does end with like basically
can you tell us?
very little to nothing resolved, from what I remember.
It's not a spoiler,
Bloody
is it?
hell.
You could tell us now.
I can't remember, honestly. I really can't remember. Like that's what an impact it was, because it was such a weird nothing ending that it was like it was very disappointing. Like the whole thing was disappointing.
His face, I've never seen him so impassioned about something. This is
No, it was annoying, you know, because I was really looking forward to that game, and then it came out and it was
2 was rubbish as well, though. To be fair,
yeah, it
you
wasn't,
should
it
have.
wasn't as good as I remember.
You should have sort of taken the hint from 2. To be honest with you.
So
okay.
I thought this came about because a couple of weeks ago that the publisher of Shenmue 3 was tweeting or like had responded to like some tweets with like cryptic replies, and people were thinking, is Shenmue 4 going to be announced? But no, this is actually just about Suzuki's interview with IGN Japan.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
So the other stuff was just the publisher saying, oh, let's just put some eye emojis in and see what happens.
Did you like Shenmue 2, Matt?
I don't think I played it.
I didn't play it, no. There's a Sega fan that says the Dreamcast is the best console ever. Okay,
Dreamcast,
right, go on.
Best console ever.
Go on.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's go-
last
let's go.
story is that Summer Games Fest has got a date. So this is,
Alright.
A date,
goodness.
or has it got a few months? What's the deal? What's the deal with this one?
well, there's going to be a live show on Thursday, the 9th of June at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
UK time.
So a little bit different to
Okay.
what we anticipated.
So Keeley has said, I'm hosting a live cross-industry showcase, game announcements, reveals, plus Day of the Devs. So, yeah, great.
Jeff,
Day of the
I'm
Devs is good,
so,
man.
Jeff, I'm so
It was
tired.
better than the main
The
show.
actual thing.
I've got so much going on. Can you please just keep it simple, just for once? I'm so tired, Jeff. Please
say-
just say we're going to announce stuff on this day.
I was going to say, does he say how long it's going to be? But he doesn't, does he?
No.
Why doesn't he say?
It'll-
2
it'll-
hours.
2 hours plus,
2
then Day
hours.
of the Devs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so previously as this has been a Saturday, this is now the Thursday. So if James is leaving the internet, it's going to be a long old week for old James.
I don't know. I was looking forward to that because I remember watching some of those conferences last year. What was that one that we watched? I mean, a lot of them were really bad, but there was that one that was really long that was just terrible.
Koch Media,
Media.
wasn't it?
That's the one.
There was a
Koch
lot
Media.
of real
Yeah.
duds, wasn't there?
And then I said, maybe we should delay the recording of the podcast because there's a Bandai Namco one on the Tuesday. It could be huge. It was mostly like one of those, what was it, like the horror games you like? I'm sure that was the one. Yeah. It wasn't
Oh yeah,
any
the horror games you like.
Yeah.
Because Elden Ring was actually in the Jeff Keighley thing on
That's
the Saturday.
right. Yeah, because when we were all like, oh, there might be more Elden Ring.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. So no, I mean, well,
So wait, he's not actually said anything then. When is it?
no, it has. He's announced the date and what it is. It's
9th of
Yeah,
Thursday
but what's
Thursday
the
night.
date?
and it's
What's
going to
the
be
date
set
relate to?
9th of June, 7 p.m. UK time.
Yeah.
Right,
As I
but
said.
that's to one conference of the 50 that he shows at this thing.
Well, no,
Right.
yes, Summer Game Fest is the big. It's a thing that goes over all summer, but this is the big opening night, whatever it's called.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is opening night.
This is the show. Yeah.
This is the one. I mean, yeah, again, last year it had the Elden Ring exclusive trailer, so it's obviously got quite a big
This
pull.
is the one with Hideo Kojima on. That's what it is.
His best
Possibly.
mate.
I wonder,
maybe.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll see Kojima's next game.
Yep. Yeah,
That
we'll
would be
definitely see
interesting.
that.
Or maybe he'll just talk about the pandemic like he did last year.
Yeah, that was weird.
It was really weird.
Are we done?
I'm excited.
Yeah, we're done. That's all the news. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get on to what we've been playing, and Matt and Sean can take over for a while
Hello.
because they've been playing Citizen Sleeper.
We certainly have.
Citizen No Sleeper. If
more
Matt's
like-
anything to go by.
Yeah.
Good morning, Matt.
So
Coming up,
this,
I'll let Sean do it. So this is the game Sean was so excited about, and
yeah, I've been buzzing about this for a long time.
Is it
So
shit?
this was like, because this was announced at the PC gaming show at E3 last year, which
great conference.
which is a great conference. I think, yeah, because we talked about it, didn't we? And we're like, oh no, to be fair, Citizen Sleeper actually looked really good. And yeah, and then I think I'm allowed to say now, so earlier this year, as part of the closed beta for it. And I was just like, fuck, this is brilliant. I mean, obviously it was a closed beta, there's, issues with it and stuff, but just generally speaking, like the writing and stuff, I was like, fuck, I'm so sold on this. And then it was announced it was coming to Game Pass, and it was like, brilliant, I don't have to like shout at people to buy it. Like, if most people I know can just play it without spending any more money. It's a game where you play as a sleeper, so it's set in the far future, and you're on this space station, and basically you are someone who, so in this future, like, true AI has been outlawed, right? And because it's considered like too dangerous. However, one loophole around this is that people can have their consciousness like digitized, right, and transferred to machines. In your case, you've signed, so you like at some point in the past you were a normal human being who was paid to have their consciousness digitized, and then basically you get put in like cryo sleep, and then your brain effectively is put into like a synthetic body, which can then go out into the universe and do like really dangerous, horrible work, right? But the idea is it's sold to you as like, oh well, like, someone else will just go off with your brain, do a load of stuff, and then one day you wake up and you've got a load of money for your time, except in the game, so you're the one in the artificial body, and you've escaped because the way that these artificial bodies, with these sort of digitized consciousnesses are treated is absolutely appalling, and they're basically being abused. So you've escaped, and you arrive at this station, and you essentially, because you're just this copy of a person, right? You have no legal rights, right? You're not legally like recognized as a person. You're technically like corporate property, right? And that has gone missing. So although you've arrived on this station, you're trying to like carve out a life for yourself, like essentially as like like a refugee. You're also like, you're being hunted, right? Because this corporation believes you belong to them, and you need to be brought in. And like the other issue is that to disincentivize you from escaping, there's this sort of medicine, this sort of chemical that you need on like a regular basis, or else your body starts falling apart. So it's kind of like there's a lot of like Blade
Bit
Runner
like that
in it.
Dr. Dope game. What is that? What's it called?
What, Haze?
Hive or something. Haze. Yeah. It sounds like something about Haze.
Well, I was going to say, because it's very
Unofficial
Blade
sequel.
Runner, but if you were the replicant, right? And it specifically sort of goes to that because it's no secret that you are being hunted, and eventually there's a bounty hunter that comes after you, and it's very much like, oh yeah, like how would Deckard from Blade Runner appear to you if you were the replicant, right? He's a fucking dick. Like it's and so basically, it's all about you trying to, like I say, sort of carve out a life for yourself on this station, and sort of obviously as the story progresses, it sort of becomes clear there are sort of potential sort of ways out of your current situation. But the way it plays out sort of moment to moment is it is quite Disco Elysium, but it's much more like you're not controlling an avatar walking around a space. It's all sort of interface based. So you're kind of scrolling up and down the station. There's sort of different sort of locations you just sort of click on, and that's how you sort of travel around. But it's every day in the game you wake up and you are given like a set of dice are rolled for you, right? So you'll have like 2 3s, a 5 and a 1 or whatever, and then you can spend those on tasks that you can do on any given day. So, you know, if you get like a 6, that's like a guaranteed success at doing something, whether it's like there's a lot of like gig work, right? So it's like you might get a shift at like a bar or helping welders ship together or whatever. And yeah, you can do well at those things, or you can fail them. You get paid accordingly, or you can hurt yourself or whatever. But what's really smart is that as your body starts to fail you, because like if you're not keeping on top of getting hold of this medicine, which like, you know, you have to get through like black market connections and stuff, as your condition drops, you get fewer dices each day. Dice. So so it's like you're trying to keep on top of like keeping yourself in top condition, but also because you've got a limited supply of this medicine, you're sort of thinking, well, maybe I'll let my body die a bit, and then when I get to like 3 dice, that's probably when I should use the medicine again. Like you're trying to eke it out, right? And
it's like a takeaway. Like, let's just kill my body just enough so that I'm not dead.
Yeah.
But just so that I'm enjoying life.
And it's like it's absolutely fascinating. Like it's the struggle initially is like a constant thing, right? You're constantly sort of having to make decisions, like because you're meeting characters and they might need things from you. They might need help with stuff, and they might not necessarily be things that will pay you money, right? So you're sort of thinking, right, well, I know this guy like wants my help, like hacking this server or whatever, but also I'm fucking skint and I'm starving and I need my medicine. So you day by day you're making these decisions like, right, well, I'll spend like my good dice on the stuff I really need to do, and then the shit dice on maybe things I'm not so fussed about. And yeah, so you're constantly making those decisions. That kind of levels out as the game goes on, which I think works, because on the one hand you're sort of thinking like, oh well, this isn't really a story about like, you know, struggling or surviving anymore. I'm all right. But then by that point you've got so many story threads to pick through that you kind of like, well, good, because I'm enjoying just sort of meeting these characters and doing stuff for them and seeing how all these plot threads you know, sort of play out, that it's by that point you're kind of thinking, well, yeah, I'm quite happy to not have, you know, not be worrying constantly about, you know, surviving day to day.
This is what I wanted to ask you. Sorry.
So I was saying I was actually stressing about a condition of, you know, of myself and energy and trying to get food until probably like the first 80% of the game. For me, it didn't seem to calm down. The tension was always there about, okay, well, you know, I because also the lower your condition goes, like the less dice you have the next day. And so if you go down to like, you know, you start with 100%, you have all 5 dice. You know, after a couple of days or every day, some of your condition deteriorates, and then you have less dice the next day and the next day. And I'm like, well, I don't want to start a day with just 2 dice, because that's really, I want, you know, I can't wait another few cycles to do this thing. Maybe maybe the thing I need to do it in the next 2 or 3 cycles. So I have to I was constantly stressing about trying to get the medicine, trying to making sure I have enough food, because as well as condition, which determines how many dice you have, you also have an energy bar, and when your energy goes right down, that then means that your condition deteriorates twice as fast. So you're then just constantly topping up with food to make sure that's filled up, as well as, you know, trying to complete tasks within a certain time frame. So I thought that tension was fantastic. I mean, it kept on for me. I would say 8% of the way through the game. It was only really the last 20% or so where I felt comfortable, had enough money, wasn't too fussed about the medicine because I had enough saved. But yeah, that was the constant tension, which I thought was really a fantastic part of the game.
Can I just ask though, can you fail this? Like, can it be all over?
No, which is
okay.
Which is weird, because because this is it, because I sort of tested this because I wasn't sure.
I was too scared to test it. I never.
Well, this is it. Yeah, like
I never got my condition down to the lowest. Energy can get, so you start off like full and it goes down to starving. When you're starving, that's when your condition, the other bar, goes down twice as fast. I would like get down to starving and buy some food and I'll be fine. But the main one which determines the amount of dice, I never got that down to like 1 dice because I was too scared about what would happen. So you did.
This is what I was wondering, because I've got this and I started playing it, and then I just thought, how stressful is this game going to be? Because it's like,
there's definitely moments that are pretty stressful. Overall I found this like it's too interesting to let the stress put you off, basically. Like it's too, like, the characters are too vibrant and the world's too interesting to, like, for that to put you off. I should say, like, so you can't die, but what happens when your condition gets to 0 is not good. Like, it's not a fun thing. I won't spoil it beyond that, but yeah, there's
but there's a way back, right?
There's a way back, and it's because like from basically, like, as soon as you start the game, it holds this thing over the, like, like I've said, like, you're being hunted, right? There's a bounty hunter that comes after you, and again, that's really sort of framed as like it kind of implies like you need to have reached one of the endings by the time this happens, whereas that's not really the case. And I was
so stressed about that when I saw, like, because as well as dice, there's also these clocks. Now I haven't played any tabletop RPG, so maybe this is quite common, but you have like various clocks whereby you might complete tasks and it will gradually fill up, light up these clocks until you get to the end and you've completed that task. They're also kind of like bad clocks whereby you fail with things enough times that might then mean the ship leaves, or you can't meet someone, or you miss out on some opportunity. There's loads of things where you're trying to juggle in between making sure you have dice rolls that satisfy and fill up the good clock, and making sure you don't fuck up enough, so you kind of you miss out on stuff by filling kind of the fail clock or whatever. So, but I found that there was loads of tension around that the whole time.
Yeah, totally. Because and like as you say, because there are situations where you have to make choices. Like I was watching an interview, the one Gareth Damien Martin did with Austin Walker. I don't know if you got a chance to watch it.
I watched a bit, yeah. Ludo Narek.
Yeah, Ludo Narek, come on, yeah. And like Gareth was talking about, like, they were saying that, like, because it's interesting because there's loads of dialogue choices in this game, but the dialogue choices aren't a big deal in terms of, or they're not usually a big deal in terms of how the story plays out, right? And Gareth was saying, like, that's something they've done on purpose because, broadly speaking, in life, like, the big choices you make aren't like the wording of the things you say, it's the things you choose to do or choose not to do. And they were saying, like, it's more about those choices you make between, like, self-preservation and helping your friends out, which I think does work, because there are situations that, like, you can sort of neglect, and things that might not play out necessarily the way you want them to because you were either too busy focusing on something else or just trying to keep yourself alive. But yeah, I mean, for me, it was never that stressful. And as I say, you kind of, as you get towards the end, again, the way the endings work is unusual, but done on purpose. And I think it's worth explaining because, again, I think it's something people will stress about, because there's loads of different endings. But again, Gareth has said, like, they want it to be respectful of players' time. So I don't think there's any endings where it's like, that's it. Like, forget it. Like, you can either go back to a previous save, make a different decision, and things can continue if you want to see the other endings.
They're all meaningful.
Yeah, they're all meaningful. And it's...
So happy about it.
Go on, sorry, Matt.
I'm so happy about that because I've said it loads in the past where, say Breath of the Wild, where you finish that game and it takes you back before the end boss. I've always thought, like, couldn't there be something afterwards where people are saying, oh, thank you for doing this, whatever. Some games... I'm stressing when it gets to the end. I'm like, and they might say, hey, you better do what you need to do now because you're not going to come back. And I'm like, yeah, well, guess once I finish this, that's it. Some games, you finish the game and it takes you back just before that final boss or whatever. But this game, you can see credits, you can finish a story thread. It will take you back, but there's also the kind of like a couple of cutscenes afterwards, so it does kind of follow on, and then it still enables you to explore or do more, which I thought was that's like the perfect way to do this, I think. So
yeah, totally.
There's something that reflects what you've achieved in the story, but you can still go around and do other stuff. It's not the end. I thought it was really, really well done.
Yeah.
So how long is a playthrough roughly? Like how long does it take to get through?
Well, because so I now realise that what I did was quite weird. So I played it through on Switch first, and then like got an ending and kind of like it felt right. So I was like, right, I'm going to stop there, and I thought I want to try the Xbox version just out of interest. The Xbox version runs a lot better, I have to say. The Switch version is fine. Like it's for the type of game it is. Like it doesn't really matter, but performance is a bit choppy. The interface is bad on both, I should say. The controller interface in general could do with some work. It's sometimes a bit fiddly in terms of selecting stuff. But yeah, so I was like, no, I'm just going to start again on the Xbox, and I am glad I did because I spotted things that I'd completely missed on my first run on the Switch. Things which, in hindsight, I could have just loaded up the Switch version again, and if I just sort of looked at old areas again and gone, oh, hang on a minute, I haven't actually fully explored that or done this, I could have actually picked those threads up. So there wasn't really any need for me to restart, but I did, and then did like another full run. I mean, I think you're probably looking at, about 10, 15 hours, Matt? Depending on how quickly, like you can get an ending sort of relatively quickly, and then it's kind of up to you if you want to continue exploring it or not. So
for me, it definitely took over 10 hours, but everyone I've heard talk about it, they're all like, oh, 6 to 8 hours. I mean, I don't know if like the Xbox kind of like the counter on the console is accurate. I mean, I definitely had it on pause for bits, but I think mine now is like 18 hours, so I'm fairly sure it counts everything. But even when I felt like I didn't have it on pause for a long time, it's still over 10 hours. But yeah, I've heard 6 to 8, James, and you do things get through games pretty quickly, so. I'm not expecting it for you to take.
Gamer. Is that James?
He is a pro gamer.
He's a pro gamer.
It's like the pacing of it is just fascinating because it's one of those games that does that thing really well of like, even though this isn't like explicit within the game, it's like in your head you're like, right, I've got like my long-term objectives, I've got like my medium-term ones, and then I've got my short-term ones, right? So you might be like, oh, like I've been told I need to do something really important that's on this other area of the space station, but I can't get there yet. And then it's like, okay, so my medium-term goal is to like get to this next area, and then there's like a ferry you have to take. It's like, shit, that's really expensive. So then you find yourself like, so you think, right, well, I'll do some stuff I can, like some short-term stuff I can do now, and then someone's like, oh, hey, I also need you to go to this next area of the map, but I can get you a discount on the ferry, and you're like, fuck, right, of course, and then that feeds into other things you're trying to do. So like, you reach a point in the game fairly quickly where you might have like 10 different like quests going at one point, and you can view them all on a list on the left hand side, and you can choose which ones you want to track, which ones you want to prioritize. But I don't know. I don't know if you were the same. I never felt daunted by that because I always felt like I had an idea of what I wanted to prioritize, and eventually I was able to mop up pretty much everything. So it wasn't like, oh fuck, there's like too much going on, like I'm really stressed or anything. Like it was all right.
I wasn't stressed. I mean, again, for someone who doesn't play these kinds of games, I've never really played a game like it, or at least maybe because it's so explicit with like the die roll and whatnot. Obviously, I've played games like Disco Elysium, which is probably doing this in the background to shield me from that. But this isn't really a game type I've played before, and there was. At the beginning, there's an awful lot of kind of walls of text to explain the various kind of mechanics and this and that. And I'm so glad. At the time, I took pictures of everything on screen. And I'm so glad I looked at them loads. And I was like, okay, so what does condition really mean? And how does a food affect a condition? I was constantly going back to the pictures I took of the tutorial at the beginning. But in terms of like the task list, no, I never felt truly overwhelmed because, but although I kind of almost wanted to take like a second task list of myself. Okay, well, these are all the tasks, and you can, as Sean just said, you can track where you want. But I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to focus on this, and actually, them 5 or 6 I'm not bothering with. I'm just going to do this for now. There's an awful lot to kind of do, and this is why on the so I started playing this on the Friday. I basically did Friday night, Saturday night, and a bit of Sunday. And the Friday and Saturday night, I was up to like 3 in the morning.
I saw you on there all day on Sunday. Every time I turned my Xbox on, you were playing.
Yeah. Mostly paused. But basically, I was up so late because you do a cycle, and that could, you know, they're often quite short, but you're always kind of like, okay, and this thing's going to complete in like 3 cycles, so I'll do 3 cycles. Oh no, something else is happening now. So there's always like something else happening, and I felt like I was getting through cycles really quickly because I was desperate to see what happens next, and I knew, well, I need to grow this thing, and that takes 5 cycles. I'm waiting for this thing to arrive, and that takes 3 cycles. So it was constantly kind of making you get excited for the next one, and next one, next one. That's why it's quite hard, actually, I think, to turn this game off once you're really in the flow, because there's always something about to happen, or you're about to unlock something, or you're about to see the end of this quest, or someone's going to come back to a location. And in terms of
is it good though, Matt?
Yeah, I think it's excellent. I think it's really, really good. At the start, I was overwhelmed, as I said, and it felt a bit alien to me. But by the end, I mean, well, not even just by the end. Halfway through, I was like, okay, I really love this game. I want to see more. But just the stories and the characters are absolutely amazing. The sense of atmosphere, even very, very early on, is excellent. Not just kind of the way the visuals are, like the illustrations of the characters you meet, the writing, pretty much instantly, you kind of, there's a vibe about these various characters. And then just like seeing their stories go through to the end. I mean, like one of them, I had tears in my eyes at the end of it.
I think it was, we talked about this, didn't we? It was the same ending, just like fucking destroyed both of us in a good way. But yeah,
absolutely stunning writing, and like there's so many characters which are brilliant in different ways, and there's multiple different endings. Only one of them I was like, okay, that's fine, but all the others were brilliant and fascinating in different ways. And I after finishing this, I kind of didn't want to leave the location. I want to be in this world more. I want to, what other like books or movies or TV shows or anything is anything like this, because I want to see and experience more. I mean, like some of the characters I love. There's a guy you meet called Emphis, who's running like a street food stall.
God, and when you find out like what his whole backstory is.
But like his text, a lot of it is like describing him cooking like mushrooms, and he can ask you to go out and get mushrooms, and even it's like you can almost like taste like the food he's is serving you, because also you as your consciousness has been like copy and pasted from you as a person. You're not really kind of experiencing emotions. You're experiencing kind of like a computerized version of an emotion. So there's text saying, I can feel like the hot food going down my throat, or this looks nice, or that, but you as a character, no, you can't fully 100% taste or feel the emotions around the food. But the way like the food is described, I'm getting hungry listening to Emphis talk about his food stall and why he's doing it, and his history and leading up. I thought he was amazing.
Is it voice acted?
It's not, and I mean I wasn't expecting it to be, but like the first trailer they put out has all, obviously it's only like a 1 minute long trailer that has voice acting in it, and it does make like the actors they use for that trailer are brilliant. Like, and it was having heard that trailer allowed me to sort of have an idea of what the characters were supposed to sound like, and it does make me wish like that this would maybe get the Disco Elysium treatment if they could go back and add voice acting. Like 100%, I'd do another run.
That's such a rare thing for someone to do. I think
exactly.
Disco Elysium is like a one-off with that. I think
exactly, because that was such a huge success. Whereas this was literally made by more or less by one person.
Yeah, I've seen that trailer, so I'm going to go back after this and watch that, because that'd be fascinating. But I think, like a good book, everyone reading a book would have like their version of the character in their mind, or how they sound, how they act, and I think I like it for that. But there's like there's a father and daughter called Lem and Mina, and their story is absolutely amazing. He's like a single dad trying to have a better life for them. There's Rico you meet, who's like fascinated with a certain part of the eye, which is the name of the space station. Ethan, who's like an idealist trying to fix the world in his own way. There are so many fantastic characters, and there are also, as I said earlier, there are like fail states and these like kind of clocks where if you fuck up enough you kind of fail. So there were a few quest lines that just like I just failed. So there's probably other stories or other endings I've missed which are just as good as the ones I experienced. But I think it's an absolutely fantastic game. I absolutely love it, and still thinking about it a day or so later, and now trying to mop up a podcast about it, seeing, I think it's be good for a spoiler cast. And I watched a bit of that interview with the creator, Sean, as you mentioned, for Ludo Narracon, whatever it's called. Absolutely fantastic game.
I warned.
Sounds like I need to give it a go.
Yeah, man. Like I warned New earlier today. I was like, look, I don't know when it's going to happen, but I've been playing this game and I can't stop fucking thinking about it. So at some point, there's just going to be like half an hour where I'm just going to fucking say a load of shit about it and then that'll be it. I'll be done. But it's just, you know, like when you have that feeling where it's like this world is just like in my head now, and I'm like, and I can't stop thinking about it.
I want more from.
I was gonna say, like, I really hope they, you know, so Gareth's previous game was In Other Waters, which I really liked, but I did eventually bounce off. I'll probably go back to it now, but this is like, I really hope they do something else in this world. It doesn't have to be the same characters, but it's so brilliantly fleshed out for such a, you know, relatively short game. Like the backstory, the history of, like, not just the characters but the station itself, and the political struggles, like all the, you know, the way power has transferred between factions over time and stuff, and how that plays out and how that affects people's lives, you know, decades later. Again, very Disco Elysium, but it does it in its own way, and yeah, really interestingly.
Just for the end, I do want to kind of talk about some of the negatives. So basically, as Sean mentioned earlier, the UI, that there's so much they're trying to do, but it just doesn't work. I think this will be a way more enjoyable, and I think it's a fantastic game anyway. But on, you know, with a mouse probably, or touchpad, iPad,
touch screen, would be.
There were loads of nodes around, like the way you're traversing. So you're basically using the controller on the D-pad or stick to, you know, move from node. But sometimes there can be one there, and you press right, and I'm like, no, it's not going to that one. It's going to some other thing. It feels quite buggy in that regard. I've seen like typos in some of the text, and the UI is just, there's a lot of it, and it doesn't work that well on the pad. It didn't detract, you know, from the enjoyment at all. But yeah, it's not by no means a perfect game. There's still some things that need to sort in that regard.
Yeah, stuff needs ironing out. The one that always got me was, so you have your character has like abilities and stats. It's really basic, but they are there. So there's little things like throughout the entire game in the top right, it was like upgrades available, and they weren't. And then also, like, when you would bring up the upgrade menu, which like overlays on top of everything else, unless you just press A immediately, not immediately, but like without pressing anything else, you can still select stuff that's behind the current menu.
Stick with the map, and I'm like,
so you're just like, what the fuck? Why is nothing working? Then you realise you're actually like selecting stuff behind, like you can't actually see. So there's little things like that that need working out. But yeah, no, I absolutely adore this, and I would recommend it to basically anyone.
Cool.
Bring up so much, Sean, because if without that, I probably, well, I don't know, I maybe would have bothered after hearing stuff now, but I only really wanted to play it because you were playing it. I was like, it'd be good to talk about it on the show. But like recent weeks, I've had Norco, which is a fantastic narrative experience. Now this, like 2 weeks in a row, it's been it's great.
Cool.
Nice. Okay, so Citizen Sleeper. We'll move on to mine. I've been playing Trek to Yomi.
Oh yes,
So
come out.
Next, James, what have you been playing?
I mean, I've played a bit of Trek to Yomi. So are you? I mean, I wasn't enthralled by it. I take it you're not either.
It's okay. I mean, I think honestly, Trek to Yomi, if you don't know what it is, it's a samurai game. It's in black and white. It's sort of 2.5D. In fact, actually, it's probably 2.8D. There's a lot more 3D elements to it.
Yeah.
It's not like you're completely side-scrolling. There are side-scrolling parts to it, but there's still big parts where you can move around. You can go to completely separate paths and areas and stuff. There's a lot of exploration within that very limited viewpoint. And it's sort of an action game. There's no platforming. It's you're sword fighting people. You've got a block button which you could tap and do a parry. You've got.
Is the hook that it's really difficult though?
Well, no, I mean it gets really fucking difficult towards the end. Like it gets infuriating towards the end. I mean, I think I'm on the last level now, and there's bits in it that's so long that you know, between checkpoints. That you just start to get frustrated with it.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm not far in, and it's been very generous with checkpoint. I got to the first armored guy, Dave, and it was just like Yeah, and it was like, oh, just do like one of these combo attacks or whatever. And I was like, it didn't feel like it was working, and it annoyed me. And I turned it off.
No. I mean, the combat is, I would say, serviceable. It's not like, the problem is you're doing so much of it, and it needs to be more than serviceable to be good. The hook, and the reason why I've been playing it for longer than maybe I should have, is that it just looks fucking great, man.
It does. It does.
Visually, it does some really interesting stuff with the monochrome visuals. It fucks around with lighting here and there. It brings stuff into the foreground that's really surprising later on.
I was going to say that, like, very early on, there was some stuff I really liked. So you're like, your village is like being attacked, and you're looking at yourself, like, sort of middle distance, like running down these streets, but the camera is going through the buildings either side of the street. Yeah. And it's like, and there's like people sort of huddled and like sort of peeking over and stuff, and like they're really sort of heavily blurred out, but they're sort of there, so they're sort of, they're not obstructive, but it's just like an interesting detail and like an interesting way of doing it.
It constantly does stuff like that, and and not only that, it can play with lighting at times where as we've seen in martial arts films, like, that's a huge part of it, right? That you're not just seeing two people fighting on screen like you would in, say, a Western film. It does stuff where sometimes they're behind, I don't know, some washing on a line or whatever, but the way the light's hitting, it's projecting the fight silhouettes into the foreground and stuff like that. It does all that stuff, and it does it really well, and that's kind of what's been driving me through. I just, I think when you're asking people to use combat so much in a video game, probably make it a little bit more, it's funny because I've seen a lot of people complain about the combat, and the stuff they're complaining about is irrelevant. Like, it's not what the problem is. The problem's not what buttons you're pressing. The problem's not what combinations you're using. The problem is that it doesn't, it adds to the combat throughout the game. Like, there's certainly different weapons that you pick up and different other elements to it, but it doesn't really reflect in the gameplay, and you don't have that sort of tactile connection with what's going on screen and what you're pressing. Sometimes it can feel just a little bit too detached from what you're actually trying to achieve, and that can become really frustrating.
It doesn't have like heft and weight. You don't feel really.
It's like there's a bit of latency, isn't there, Dave? Almost.
Sort of, but also that it's telling you stuff, and when you're trying it out, it doesn't really feel like it's telling you the truth. So like, sometimes it will say, this is like, basic example is, this is a heavy attack, this is a quick attack, and then you'll go into the next fight and you go, okay, well, that one's an armored guy, so surely I use my heavy attacks. But the problem with doing that is that the armored guys are faster than the others as well. So although the heavy attacks are slower, you're fighting an enemy that's slightly faster with their attacks, and you're like, I'm not seeing what you're actually asking me to do here. There should be a combination or a way of defeating each enemy type, and the interesting side of combat should be, how can I quickly take out these enemies in the right order using the right combination systems, like say, for example, the Batman games is very much like that. There's a button press for this type of enemy, there's a button press for that type of enemy. A combo is going to work really well on this one, not so well on that one, but they're very visually different. And even in this, they're not very visually different. You look at an armored enemy and a basic enemy, and sometimes you can just get completely confused by how much you need to kick their ass. And it doesn't really, like, there's some really good moments where you can do this sort of, when two people go to try and slash each other and then they sort of miss and then both turn around and they're facing each other again, but they swap locations. You could do that in this, right? But A, it's not clear when you can do that, and B, there's no real benefit to it. So it starts to slowly introduce maybe fighting more than one character at a time. And there are totally systems there to be able to turn around, do combos behind you, all that sort of stuff. But it never really goes to that next level. It never really sort of expands on that idea. It just goes, oh, you can do it. Right. Is there going to be a point where I really need to do it? Nah.
Just keep parrying and slashing them.
So just to look cool, but there's no real benefit. It looks cool and it might feel cool, but there's no other real benefit.
There's no real benefit to doing that. And I mean, I think my ultimate takeaway from this game is that I think it's been treated incredibly harsh in some of the reviews and some of the conversations that I've seen about it online. And I feel that the reason for that is that there's been some really good games out this year. And when you're getting this game, which is probably a 6, a 7 at best, I would probably say it's more around the 6-point mark,
Yeah.
I saw a lot of 6s and 7s. Well, what is the main criticism overall, and why do you think that's harsh?
So I mean, I've seen it. You said it as well, Sean. So I'm not having a pop at you, but I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, good, it's an action game where if you press the block button, you parry." Yeah, but loads of games do that, and it's not a problem. Metroid Dread did that. It's not a
but then
problem.
there's putting that in games that do like enough other interesting things that it's not really an issue. Whereas this felt like, oh, this is the main thing I'm going to be doing. Like that's how you beat everyone.
I don't know. That's but that's not what the conversation's been about. The conversation seems to be focused on other games do this stuff. Yeah, other games do this stuff, right? But that's not what the problem is with this game. There are problems with this game, but boiling it down to such a basic criticism, I think does the game a disservice. Like there's stuff here to like, and it doesn't now, the combat, it doesn't, but as I say, it's serviceable. The problem is when you've got such a combat heavy game, it needs to be more than serviceable. So that's sort of my takeaway from it. I think if you like, if you're not too worried about it's not that long, and it's and the difficulty setting can be turned down. So if you want to see something that looks really good and does some really interesting stuff visually, then I would definitely give it a go. One of a real criticism that needs to be raised: if you're using black and white graphics in your game, and you're relying on subtitles because it's all in a foreign language, don't use white text. It is unbelievable that they made that decision.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. A lot of the subtitles are unreadable.
To change that,
I don't know. I'll have a look.
There has to be, surely, like the ability to change colours.
But then by default,
that shouldn't be there by default.
Yeah, the default should be adhering to adopted standards. Like it shouldn't be a case of having to go into the menu, should it, and tweak it. But, yeah,
it's so bizarre.
Did you play Sifu, David?
I didn't know, but I think comparisons to that is pointless, really, because they're not even trying to be the same sort of game. I think obviously there's some martial art elements to both of them, but I think trying to compare the two doesn't really work. One's a very serious, very complicated combat system. The other one is clearly focusing on just making things look good, which again it can fail at, especially when it comes to animation. It doesn't quite nail that every time.
I mean, and we should say again, like praising the way it looks, because obviously they're doing, Ghosts of Tsushima had the Kurosawa mode, which I thought was a bit rubbish. This, as a love letter to that kind of cinema, is more successful, I would say, by a long shot. The look of it is just brilliant, and because obviously part of the problem with Ghost of Tsushima is it's like, oh yeah, we're trying to make it look like this one particular director's style, whereas actually the way the camera is pointing is quite an important part of directing. And because obviously this is a bit, you have control of your character and the camera sort of pans around accordingly, but obviously the developers have thought about the way the camera pans through a scene, and they've authored that themselves, so it does have. It's definitely closer to, aping Kurosawa's style. And it should be applauded. It's not just a case of it looks lovely. It's in terms of nailing that, sort of adhering to that style. It is quite successful, but I just didn't enjoy playing it all that much, sadly.
Yeah, no, I'll get through it. I mean, I've enjoyed it enough to see it through to the end. As I say, I'm right near the end anyway, so I'll get through it. I just if you're only in the business of playing bangers, maybe give this one a swerve.
Yeah,
that would be my advice.
Who would really enjoy it? So someone who wants just like a mindless but pretty action
I
game.
wouldn't
for a
say
few
it's mindless. Like, you got to pay attention. I mean, to be
Yeah,
fair, I mean, I
you've
played it on
definitely got to
normal.
pay
There is a lower difficulty mode, isn't there?
Yeah,
And
there's
like,
a enjoy the story mode.
yeah.
Which I don't
even
know
on
how you
normal,
enjoy the story.
the timing window on the parries is pretty generous, right? It's certainly not
Yes.
like Souls level timing. It's pretty easy, relatively speaking. But yeah,
That's right. Okay, that was Trek to Yomi. James, you've been playing more Switch Sports.
Yeah, I've played.
So
more
have
of it.
I really, but what the fuck else do you say about the thing?
Exactly. I mean, have you gone up a league yet in the online at all?
No, I've heard about this.
Have you
Because-
got
Have you heard about this? This is it's supposed to be an absolute joke.
really.
Well, it's weird because you see, I played a lot of tennis like online because I enjoy that. And then you get like promoted. It says to like this like pro league or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Doesn't
if you
seem to
play it
make any
10
difference.
times. You play it
Yeah.
10 times.
It doesn't seem to make any
So-
difference.
Well, this is it. So it takes I don't know how true this is, right? Because I've not tested it myself. But if you play a game mode online 10 times, it puts you in a pro league, right? For that sport.
Regardless
Right?
of how
and you've
well
got
you
to do
did.
that for each sport.
If you
Regardless of how well you
lost
did.
every
It's
game,
just about how many
interesting.
times you do it. So the idea there is that everyone that's been playing it for a while is now all together and beginners don't get it. I've heard two things. I don't know if these are true. One, I've heard that you can turn that off, which completely
Oh, right.
defeats the point. Right? I'd love to know
You
if
can
that's
turn what
true.
off? You can turn the ability to
The
go
pro
into
league. Like you could say, no, I don't want to be a pro. I want to be with the beginners.
Keep
Like,
on battering new people.
if that's true, that's absolutely insane. But please let me know either in the chat or whatever. And the other thing that I've heard is that if you do bowling and you're in the pro league, it defaults or it's more regularly that crazy mode of bowling rather than the standard bowling.
with all the obstacles.
So yeah, people getting angry that that they were enjoying bowling and now they've got to do all the obstacles and stuff. Which is a bit frustrating because I've been playing bowling online, James, and it is incredible how many people could just get all strikes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I
brilliant,
noticed that
great.
as well.
Okay,
Yeah,
great, well done.
And that's the problem because it takes quite a long time to go through like a full game of bowling online, and it's like
Yeah.
if you're not hitting strikes like for the first like 2 or 3, you're done. You've got no chance,
Yeah.
of even getting into the semi-finals or whatever. So it becomes a bit depressing.
That's a high. At this level, you can't afford mistakes, James. You've got to be striked.
But then it literally just
get out.
But then it literally just becomes a measure of like who can do the same thing over and over again the most accurately.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's no. So I, in
Well,
a way, I
but
sort of.
That's in real life, isn't that
Well,
snooker?
yeah.
I don't know. Isn't that?
No,
at
No,
least
Premier
because
League
Snooki
game.
constantly reacting to the shape
changes,
of the.
isn't it?
Yeah. Whereas with bowling, it's the pins are the same, the lanes are the same every single time. So surely it's the case of once you've got the action down, that's sort of it.
Well,
So,
no,
in that
what?
sense-
In real bowling? In real bowling?
No. In this.
I was about to say, no, in real bowling, they changed that. Have you heard about this? Like,
No.
in real bowling, it is like totally different because it's the way they sort of wax the lane or something. There's like
right.
several different styles of like or directions in which they polish the lane.
I haven't polished my leg.
What
Sorry,
happened
just
then?
wanted to soak that in. Matt made a joke about polishing his lane.
Oh, I see. Sorry. I saw. It
Yeah,
looked
no,
like you
there's-
froze, and I was like, "Oh fuck, what's happened?" I didn't.
No, there's like there's different ways that you can polish the lane or so, and it like you've got to get the curve of the ball right in real bowling. It's so
Oh
weird.
yeah, baby, you do.
Yeah, I heard someone talk about it. Matt, just shut the fuck.
I'm talking about bowling, you mother.
Okay.
I'm
So
back to this, which is upsetting, but it's,
I mean, the main thing I've found from coming back to it is that I still feel disappointed at like how the sort of the meager selection of sports really that there are
yeah,
with
what
it.
is it?
Because the trouble
three
is I
of
only
those games have nets.
I only care about 2 or 3 of them. Like basically, it's bowling, tennis, and badminton. They're the only ones I really want to play. And you're just thinking like golf just can't come soon enough. Like there needs to be more
it
stuff
should
here.
be next week.
David, you hadn't played badminton this time last week, so you
Still haven't played badminton.
You still haven't tried it?
No, because
It is good.
the majority of the time we're playing this game, I'm playing it with me and Harry and Charlie, and badminton's 2-player only. So it's just not happening. We've barely played any Chambara or any football really. So it's literally just been tennis, bowling, and the other one. What's the other 4-player one?
Volleyball?
Oh my god, volleyball. Yeah,
Yeah, volleyball. Oh, I still hate that.
Yeah,
I played it with
I
the
had a
family
quick
the other
go.
day.
It seemed all right.
Let's do that.
Yeah. Once you get the timing down, I think volleyball's quite good. It's more complex than others. But yeah, where's that golf? Where's that golf?
Golf, please.
I need that golf. Where's that golf? Where's that boxing? Where's that archery?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where's the others? Where's the darts? Where's fucking
Do you reckon
curling?
you could do archery? Because obviously archery came in with Wii Sports Resort. It required the Wii Motion Plus. Could they just do it anyway?
Yeah,
without
I don't
that?
know.
only
I reckon they
that.
could do it.
don't know.
You remember there
these
was
are
Link's
accurate.
crossbow training. That was fine. You know, that didn't use that.
Yeah, that.
But would
What other
say,
sports? Chess. Could you imagine chess? Where you got
have
to pick up the
guy
you got to pick up the
move
thing. You put it in front of you. Other sports. Come on. What would it? Curling would be genuinely good. If you're just standing in your front room holding it like that, and then the other person's got to go.
yeah, that would be
Curling
play
would be
that.
the one.
Could you do basketball? Obviously, it'd be like super
Yeah,
simplified. You
yeah,
have to
you could.
like.
They did
Did
that.
they do that?
They
Oh,
did
did
do
they?
that before. Yeah,
Okay.
they did do that
Connect.
with.
No, that was Connect Sports, wasn't it?
No, they did it with what's it called the Wii
Sports
Sports Resort or whatever. Yeah,
Okay.
You sure?
I'm pretty certain.
Was it not Connect Sports, the one where you were
Doubting
thrown?
himself.
Could you remember Connect Sports, man?
Yeah, Connect
Where
Sports
you
did.
would, I remember being like, you were in like the edge and you would go round, or like the ball. I can't remember. I think maybe it was one of those anyway.
It was one of them. Yeah. I mean, there's
I
loads
mean-
they could do, and I would love them if they did more, but unfortunately, I'm resigned to the fact it's probably not going to happen. But so if any of you lot have like friends over, or you like got friends or their kids over, is this a game you're going to want to say, oh, let's get this out, or
Probably.
or
Do you know-
not?
I don't know.
Maybe.
But I just had a look at what Wii Sports Resort had, like how many games it had. It's crazy.
You can make
Sword
it-
play. So it's
Yeah.
sword play. So Chambara or whatever.
Sword play. That's
There you
that's a kink that I have.
go. Get out.
Rude.
Go on.
Rude
Sick.
little boy.
Wakeboarding.
Okay.
Lead,
Wakeboarding, Christ.
yeah, frisbee, disc golf, archery, basketball, table tennis, golf, bowling, power cruising,
tennis
canoeing,
means,
cycling, and air sports. I don't know what that is.
What,
but yeah.
we totally got mugged off with this fucking
Yeah,
game, didn't we?
did a bit, didn't we?
All of them would be good. That's what I said last week. I know you all like food me, but like, hey, release. Just start saying, okay, well, we've got another 2 years of content now. We'll release table tennis in like mid 2024. We'll release.
But they're not going to do that though. This is what we're saying is that they're not going to do that. Yeah, I know they should do that.
I might just get the Wii U out,
Yeah.
That's how
Sure,
disappointed.
that's bad, isn't it?
Suddenly.
So
Cricket.
was the Wii U version of Wii Sports Resort, whatever it's called, was that also more jam packed than
Wii Sports
Well,
U.
that was weird, wasn't it? Because that was where you rented
No,
the
that was
games.
where you had a
or-
menu. Yeah.
Well, no, you
Yeah.
could, you
Yeah,
could
to rent
pay
it.
to just unlock the lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a bit of a weird one.
Didn't work out like 80 quid if you did that. Or something stupid.
Possibly. I think I paid up.
So the most complete, the most
Tug of
complete version of
war.
Wii Sports is still the one on Wii, the Wii Sports Resort. That's the one with
Yeah.
all the stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Egg and spoon race.
Oh
That'd
yeah.
be a good one.
You could get the motion plus. You can
Nuka.
feel the egg rumbling about as you're moving.
Wouldn't need to. You.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, the motion pass. Yeah.
Sorry, motion. The fucking the rumble. HD
Can they
rumble.
can they
whatever.
do that? Yeah, HD Rumble. Do you reckon they could do a Squid Games like on the Switch with this stuff? So like you're doing
Yes.
the tug of
100%.
war,
Well, yeah, because it'd
And
be.
the marbles. You just
Well, yeah, because I don't know if you've ever played Johann Sebastian Joust.
yeah,
I mean, I tried it once.
good.
So this was the
We
one on
played it
the.
loads, Matt.
This was on the
Didn't we?
PS3 where you had obviously the motion controllers, and it was all like basically you all stand in a room and it like plays some music. So it's basically like musical chairs. So when the music stops, everyone has to stay completely still. And then obviously you're there like you're holding your controller and someone's nearby, you're trying to like fucking whack the hand so you can
That's
like
it,
not-
red light. Yeah,
Exactly,
green
but
light.
red light, green light, you could do that.
There'll be like that little thing with the
Yeah,
eyes.
yeah. No one
Yeah,
gets
yeah,
machine
yeah,
gunned
yeah.
to death.
We're
sadly.
like that.
concerned that Nintendo aren't going to port Air Sports, but they could do red light, green light.
Yeah,
There we
100%.
go.
What's air sports?
Like
Well, that's
airsoft.
what we just said. James said air. What did you say? Air sports, James?
Yeah, it's called Air Sports. It says covers a range of aerial activities, including parachuting, dogfighting, and
okay.
piloting. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Blimey.
trampolining.
Not
Stuff
really
they could do.
sports, though, are they? Says
What?
me, the sports purist.
The sport.
Sports guy. Right, we're going
Don't know
live
anything
to
about
our
sports.
guy,
Come to
Sean
me.
Bell.
Yeah.
Right, okay, let's switch sports.
I
James,
know
you've
there
also
hasn't been loads of kind of physical releases or whatever, but I know I did see that. Yes, I did see that it's been like it's number one for a second week in a row on Switch.
Really?
So I wonder if it has sold astronomically well, or if we
Or
are
it's just
going
a
to.
slow week. Otherwise,
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay. The only other thing I
we'll
played.
move on now. Right, Cyberpunk, you've got written down here, James.
Yeah, I mean, I've got back into this actually. Taking your advice, David, of just ignoring all the system stuff and just trying to get into it and just
Yeah,
you know
get
just
into
get
it
on with
first.
it.
Deal with that
And
later.
and it does work. Like it's yeah. I played probably. I've only played about another hour and a half or so into it, but I did start to enjoy myself more with it. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. Although the bugs are something which are bothering me. Because I've seen. I mean, I'm playing it on PS5 and I've seen people up in the air still,
Yeah.
like walking around like in the sky and stuff like that. I've seen
mad.
Future technology,
people-
James.
That's nice, mate.
I've seen like people like
It's a new
clipped
Switch
together.
sports game, James.
Yeah,
It's
stuff
got
like
air
that, and
activities.
but it is a shame because it does break the illusion, doesn't it? Like of the whole thing,
does,
and
yeah.
it's a bit off-putting, really. But I don't know. I'm going to keep going with it because it does seem pretty interesting. I know the story's not bad. I think it's just that it seems to be throwing a lot of
Glowing review from James Farley there.
Well, no, it's
It does
throwing like
work.
tons of side quests at me and stuff like that. And the city also doesn't feel very alive to me. I mean, is
No.
that something which changes, or is it just like that?
It
basically?
gets worse if anything. It's the more you see of it, you're just like, oh yeah, there's like this is never going to change. There's no life to it. It's a beautiful place, like it's like amazing. The size of it and the all the different districts with their own sort of character and feel and everything. But there's none of it feels particularly lived in. There's basically that that tower that you live in is amazing, and like the bars and stuff are absolutely incredible. But yeah, by and large, you do wonder if this could have been like, look, just take me to a map screen, let me choose the next cool location, which is really detailed and well thought out. But the actual going around the city is not
What game
always
did that?
that interesting.
That was LA Noire, wasn't it? Where they had the city and they were like, "Do you just want to go to the next bit instead?"
God, yeah, because that took fucking forever to drive around as well, didn't it?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
all
yeah.
right, true to the era. Every car only did about 20 miles an hour, fine. But it was some really long drives, and because
Yeah, the game was like, "You sure you want to have a look?"
yeah,
Really?
I wouldn't
don't
bother, mate. Well, because you get the calls over the radio, wouldn't you? And it'd be like,
Yeah,
there's like
yeah.
an emergency happening. What they wouldn't tell you is that it was literally like a 10-minute drive away from your next objective.
I love that as well, and how every single one ended in you murdering somebody.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it
Yeah,
was
you
just-
had to kill them. You had to kill them.
Shittest
you had to
detective
shoot
ever.
them as they ran away. It was like it was really messed
Right
up.
then, that is what we've been playing this week. We are going to take questions from the chat.
Oh my goodness!
So feel free to get your questions in. Type them into chat. We'll try and get through a number of them.
Yeah, so
also-
can't do all of them, but we'll try and.
May I
pick and choose.
suggest that if you see one while we're answering, just sort of keep it in your head as well, because there's because there's going to be a few of them that we have to get through, I think.
What have we got?
I
Oh,
think,
okay. So
I think they're still getting. Have you ever been pranked? Have you ever pranked a baby?
I mean, they're very
that's the
easy
question.
to prank.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you do.
say what
The
you want.
one that what's your favourite baby prank, Sean?
Pretending to be sick. That was always a good one.
What?
Oh, Isaac used to
What
love it.
on
In
the
fact-
baby?
Yeah.
What?
Isaac used to think it was hilarious. Like I'd just be changing his nappy, and I'd, like because it, like I think because it smelled really bad one day,
right,
I sort of started
okay.
pretending to go like, "Ugh, ugh," and he started laughing his head off. I said the more like over the top I did it, the harder he laughed. So it was just I'd be there change his nappy, and I'm just going like,
Until you
like going
accidentally
absolutely
made yourself
mental.
gag so much you threw up all over his head.
Yeah, not literally.
Is that where it's going? I did the high five one? Hey. But that's just
Oh, yeah.
annoying more than anything else, isn't it? Really a prank.
It's so easy to prank a baby. I mean, like when Elodie was like,
to prank a baby.
when Elodie was like,
no challenge.
yeah, when she was like 3 months old, I said, Half-Life 3's been announced. And she believed it. I mean, it wasn't even announced at all. She like, okay, then she was sick and she shit herself. So maybe she did it. Maybe she did believe it. I don't know. But you can do what you want. You can say, you can say anything. James, what's your favourite baby prank?
I haven't got any. I can't think of any. I mean, pranks is just stuff
Doesn't
like,
do
what's
pranks.
that over there? And stuff like that. And then they look
What a
and
shit
there's nothing
prank.
there. It's rubbish, isn't it?
Low tier.
They're rubbish if you do those ones, James.
I once forgot where I was, and I did one at work accidentally, and I still think about it a lot.
Oh my god,
so
go on.
I was kind of
story.
well, no, it's a very boring story, but I was handing something to someone I used to work with at the previous agency, and kind of, I don't know, still in dad mode or something, and I went to hand the book and I went like pretended to drop it, and I was like, it's like, you wouldn't do that to an adult. Like, who does that? You're like, oh, because but to Elodie, she would love that. I'm like, oh, but I almost dropped it, and I was like, why did I do that? It's to my colleague at work. Why did I pretend I've almost dropped the book? I think about that a lot. Sorry, Rose, if you're watching.
And someone reminded me of Mirror Dad. Yeah, when I used to
Oh,
hold Harry as a baby in front of a mirror, and every time Harry looked at me, I'd go, "Hello, mate, you all right?" And then when he looked at me through the mirror, I would go, "Gonna eat you." That was Mirror Dad. And then he'd look back at me, and then I'd go, "Hello, mate." Yeah, what's up?
One of my favourite things I did with Asher with that was when we had like, do you remember there was that face swap app that you could use?
Yeah.
And I did that with Asher, and he looked at it and he thought it was the funniest thing ever because he was like, he kept on saying, "I've got a beard" and stuff like that. And then he laughed so much that he threw up all over himself. It was brilliant.
No way.
He was so into it. It was really funny. Yeah.
Amazing. Revenge of Gibbon says, what's the most pointless thing you have a ritual around? I sing a little song with gestures while I'm making instant noodles.
I don't have any of these. I don't have any rituals.
I started post-COVID or during whatever, so I have to sing the chorus to Party Hard twice while washing my hands because that guarantees the correct
Happy
amount
birthday, isn't it?
I know, but he also works with Party Hard by Andrew WK, so...
Sorry, is that just
song.
like a really long song?
No, not the whole song, just the chorus.
Oh, just the
And a couple of verses.
Now it's
You know.
time.
Are you washing your hands again? I thought like we don't have to do it anymore.
To be fair, it's not. But it's one of those
We
things,
do
isn't it?
it.
Where it's like, actually, it's probably just a good idea anyway, but doesn't really make any difference COVID-wise, does it? It's not.
I'm joking. I wash my hands all the
Um,
time. Ritual. I don't know if the trouble is I probably do, and I just don't realise I'm doing them.
Yeah.
But that's gonna be the worst thing. I must have loads. But
I bet you've got loads, Matt. And
that's
it's just
how I
normal
make
life for
tea,
you.
right? Yeah, that's just how I make tea. Now it turns out, Matt, you're flipping, you're throwing a mug in here 3 times. You don't even realise it.
I don't think this really counts, but I have to use a new spreading knife for each serving of toast.
really?
So yeah, so even if like Charlie's having toast with butter and I'm having toast with butter, there's 2 spreading knives there. I'm not doubling up with that.
That's weird.
Weird,
Speaking of buttering toast, have I ever told you about the thing I do when I've finished buttering toast?
You ran out of your
Why am I
arse.
scared?
Yeah, why not? Just,
Yeah, you told us all about that, Jet.
How
Sure,
else are you going to
told
clean
us
it?
all
Do you know what
about
I mean? No, it's this was a friend of mine mentioned that his granddad used to do it, and my friend told me this story. It's like, here is a weird, stupid thing my granddad used to do, and I thought that's cool. I'm going to do it. So basically, when you finished buttering like a slice of toast or bread or whatever, rather than just wiping it against the bread, you can actually like insert it in the bread and then like wipe it clean on the way out.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, it's great. Feels good. Dave
That's
looks
amazing.
like he's. I don't know what. he's
No,
thinking.
I'm game.
Oh mate, it's
That
wicked.
sounds great.
It's fantastic. Worth a go.
But doesn't it? What if there's too much butter on the knife when you do that, and then you go to bite your piece of toast, it all spouts out that little hole that you put in there.
Like
Yeah,
a jam donut, just like a little.
Yeah, like
pocket.
like a buttery jam donut.
I
That's
just
the
realised
worst thing, isn't it? That's the worst fucking thing. Like, because when you're having a jam donut, you need to make sure you eat the whole bit first. Because if you eat it anywhere else, that's it. Your fucking trousers are ruined.
You've got to find the little
know, it's
jacksie,
like-
haven't you? You can't just start biting
wear
willy-nilly.
trousers.
The insertion point.
Yeah.
James has got opinions on this. Look at his
I
face.
said it's like the crumpet dilemma, isn't it? Like it's the
Go
same.
on.
It's the same thing. You know, like if you get like crumpets and like crumpets are really nice with like butter and stuff on, but then like you bite into it and then it's like whoosh all over your tie.
Oh, that's it. Whoosh all over your tie. I remember you
Whoosh
saying
all
that
over
before.
your tie.
Whoosh all over your
Yeah.
tie.
It's true.
Yeah.
It could
Yeah,
totally happen.
I realised have I mentioned? I think I've mentioned the special spoon, haven't I?
Yes.
Yes,
you
yeah.
have.
You've mentioned that you've
Realised
got
I-
a
you've
special
You've had
spoon.
since you were.
And then
Cool.
I'm not sure if you've all seen kind of Adrian Charles's various kind of Guardian columns where
I have
urinal
seen that,
thing.
yeah.
it's basically accidental kind of partridge. And the other day,
Hang on, Matt. Are you about to reveal that you've got a urinal in your house?
well, no, it's just related to spoon. I'm not going to talk about the urinal tonight. But yeah, basically, one of his things the other day was I thought it was weird to have a favourite spoon. Then I realised I wasn't alone. And that is literally me. I saw that on the accidental partridge Instagram. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, that's literally me. That's literally me, Adrian.
It is you.
That's
Okay.
Pope Ramon says, oh, it keeps trying to fucking scroll as I'm reading it. So I recently listened to some of the old Midnight Resistance episodes that are still on the internet. Do you still have
Sorry.
access to your older podcasts, and would you consider making them available to Patreons in some way?
Oh.
I mean, well, certainly not with any mild stuff, because that would be me profiting off like other
I was
people's
gonna
work
say, yeah,
and
that's
not.
funny off old.
Oh, yeah, I can use that excuse as well. Yeah, I can use that excuse.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not profiteering off Michael's work. Yes, I've got 2 CDs. Joe found them today, actually.
Yeah.
We had a Dutch listener that used to write the most insane and hilarious emails. They were really long emails. He sent over 2 CDs. One was a Joypod archive CD, and one was a Play Talk archive CD.
Oh, yeah.
So I've got them, but I've got no means to put them anywhere yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
it's-
probably would not want
I
anyone
was
to
gonna
hear
say,
them.
would
Yeah.
we?
Yeah, I mean,
Who-
definitely. So, obviously, the podcast I did before Midnight Resistance, we did the Dark Zero podcast. Definitely don't want anyone listening to that ever again. It's on a Google Drive. It's like a mutually assured destruction policy between myself, Andy, and Ian. We've all got access to it. If we ever wanted to destroy each other's lives, then we just push the button, make that public. But like genuinely, like there are jokes on there that I would not make now and would be quite mortified to listen to, and definitely that I'm not going to go into it, but there's definitely ones on Joypod that I did and regret.
What jokes?
Yeah,
Oh, are you thinking about the? Are you thinking about the long-winded joke
Yeah.
that you did that time?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
because it's not
making
even
sure-
a joke, is it? It's like I think it was one of those. Like it's
was
offensive, but I think I was like, oh, but it'll be funny because it's so drawn out, and then people will realise I don't mean it. But then people thought it was serious as well, and I was just
It
like,
was serious.
fuck, man, it's
someone's
offensive
put-
and it's taken the wrong way.
Vatuki has just put, hang on, wasn't there a young kid that used to listen to Joypod, Tea and Crumpets or something? I remember thinking he was too young to listen, despite me being... Yeah, so Tea and Crumpets was a regular caller, Mikey Hall,
Oh.
and he called into TLNA or literally about a month ago, called up Ian on his show, and it was crazy. Like, I was sitting at home, and he went, hello, my name's Michael Holt. I used to phone into Joypod back in the day, and I saw David Turner talk about your show, so I'm just calling in, and I'm like, oh my god,
Mate.
it's Mikey Holt, and he's like in his 30s now.
Amazing.
Oh yeah. We had a little DM conversation afterwards, see how we were doing and see how we were doing. Yeah, are we cool, Mikey Hall? No, because I always felt really bad because we called him Tea and Crumpets, and I just thought, he was only a kid. Did he take that personally, or was that's not a nice thing to just start calling someone a nickname like that? I can't even remember why. And then so that was it. I remember why. His first call, he phoned up and we were saying, what's the worst thing you've been called on Xbox Live? Different times back then. Different times. That was how cool. And he said, I play with a lot of Americans and they all call me Tea and Crumpets. I said, well, that's it. You're going to be called Tea and Crumpets on this show now from now on. Yeah, no, good shout. Any other questions?
Sorry, I was enjoying that too much. I mean, it was mainly just people guessing what I said that was so awful. Back then. It's not, it's not like, okay, here's what I said. You wouldn't say it now. Like, it's genuinely really unpleasant.
How likely are we to see? This is from Game 82. How likely are we to see Adam Capone make an appearance soon?
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully, with his masterful editing. It's got to be soon, right? I mean, it's got to be soon. I've missed him so much. We need to get him. Imagine what people are going to be like. If you've not heard a Capone Adam edit, divides everyone right down the middle. 50% of people absolutely love it. 50% of the people absolutely hate it.
Yeah,
it's kind of never want to listen again. Yeah.
I mean, we could just ask him.
Steve J asks, do you worry about the do you worry about the kids, I assume you mean our kids, hearing some of the stuff you said over the years? Yeah, that's going to be weird if they listen to the podcast at any point, isn't it?
Your kids must be close. Yeah, I was going to say.
Rachel keeps asking to listen to stuff.
Does she?
And I'm like, no, you don't need to do that. It's fine.
I mean,
really?
surely she could find it herself if she really wanted to.
She could do. Yeah, she certainly could do, but she hasn't
I would
so far.
love it. I would love it if Rachel turned out to be Maria Mendieta.
Not only has she been listening, but she's also been consistently one of the best question askers the show's ever had.
Well, I told you. Well, no, I didn't actually tell you. I don't think we've mentioned this on the main show yet. But on the bonus show, Jo revealed that she overheard Harry telling one of the kids at his birthday party that his dad was the king of gaming because he's on the computer game show. And that's why stop telling people about that.
Yeah.
Because if they listen to that, that's no good.
It's weird because I don't like, in terms of it being like inappropriate, I think we've been, I was going to say I don't really mind him hearing bad language. I do now because he's only 4. But like there will reach a point where I'm just like, do you know what? He's gonna hear it at school. Like I'm not too worried about F-bombs and stuff. It's slurs to me that are a problem. On that front, I think we're quite good. And certainly we've been called out on things and we've learned from it. So I'm not like, I don't know. I don't have any worry about him like hearing it and repeating stuff that he's heard on the show.
So what if you the first time he calls you a cunt?
Yeah. Depends if I deserve it or not. I mean, who knows?
Oh, you absolutely deserve it. That's not in any doubt. Like, it's just what emphasis he puts on that word.
I was just like, no, you haven't done anything, Dad. You just are a cunt. There's no. Look at you, like walking around saying things. Like, for God's sake.
The only reason we want Eddie to listen to the show is just the swear words. I mean, I think everything else is fine. But I think about this a lot. It's just, obviously there weren't podcasts around when my dad, when my parents had me. So the ability for our children to be able to just
you should be a historian.
Yeah, because I find this because I know
5 or 6 years ago. That's absolutely wild, isn't it? That our children will be able to go back and say, I've literally got.
I'm nuking this shit. We're getting rid of this shit when they get to that age. No chance.
But because I know that before I was born, my dad was cool, right? He was in a band and stuff.
Just like his son.
But were they shit?
Yeah, exactly. Both whole family of famous musicians. He's never talked about his habits, but he definitely has been very good friends with people who smoke a lot of weed. But that was all gone, obviously, by the time I arrived. And you kind of there's no remnant of that bit of his life. There's no record of it. Whereas for us, it's all here. Not that any of this is as cool as being in a band or smoking weed, but do you know what I mean? It's here's something that we really put ourselves.
They will be able to listen to the equivalent of that was when we put out that bonus show just before the live show at EGX, where we were complaining about James's bed being full of semen stains.
I mean, I wasn't complaining about it.
That sounds terrible. That was because when we moved into the place, it
No,
was
no
like
need
that.
to explain it. Let's move
No,
on.
no, it's very similar because Sean doesn't have a record of his dad smoking weed, but our kids will have a record of us all drinking milk.
That's
really
true. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Not
It
all of
produces
us.
similar effects.
Not all of us.
Not
one of us.
All of us.
Check it out.
Just quickly. So Vatuki says, Sean, do you remember any of the lyrics to Bike on a Spike? Check out the next Patreon bonus show.
Where we created some of the videos.
Yeah.
Tazayak
Go on, sorry.
says, obvious sounding question, but somehow never heard your answers. What's everyone's favourite all-time games? Let's just do a quick run. No, fire 'em off, Matt, go.
64 is the first thing that comes to mind.
Oh, fucking hell. Okay. James.
Deus Ex.
Oh,
Good on
Sean.
Disco Elysium.
All right. Breath of the Wild for me.
Maybe.
Breath of the Wild, baby. Deus Ex, that's a really interesting one for you, James. I wouldn't have had that. In fact,
good.
actually, last time you said it, you said Streets of Rage 2. So, what? It's changed.
I've got loads. I've got a whole. This is that I can never do your favourite
I just
ever
pull 'em
thing
out of my
ever.
head.
It's just, but there's a couple that I really like a lot, and that's one of them.
Okay.
All
Yeah,
right.
that first-
Gasman's just said, I love this idea you all have that your kids would actually not just be really disappointed in what they would see as boring listening to your work. They'd probably just, I don't know, maybe when one of us dies, maybe our kids will start going through the archives, but until then,
As soon
they're
as I
probably just
die,
not bothered,
yeah.
right?
Oh, could you imagine though, if one of us died, say I died, and then the next episode it would move back. Hi, this is Sean Bell. I'm here with Matt Murray, James Farley, and Harry Turner.
Yeah.
That's how it works, yeah. We just hand it down.
That would be so good. And our Matt's died now, so yeah. Oh,
But then, in like another 5 years, like LD will join the show, and then Harry will feel less weird. And it'll slowly, it'll make sense.
Harry will just instantly get up himself because he's no longer the newcomer.
That's true, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's
we should do that.
Yeah, man.
Should we do a couple more questions if we've got any?
Excuse me, sorry, my voice is fucked. Tizzo just saying we finally have the answer to what would happen if Matt died on the show. Yeah, LED will step up, should be fine. Has James ever done hard drugs?
No.
How hard are we talking? You done soft drugs, James?
Weed, I guess. Does that count?
Weed, I guess. It's definitely a drugs.
We did not condone that on this show. It was TOS.
Like he's ever going to admit to doing hard drugs, honestly. James comes across as someone that has definitely done acid. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like when he was in his 20s, he's done acid. Look at that face. Look at his face. Look at his face. Think about the time he was on acid. Sean, he's having flashbacks right now to the time he was on acid.
Yeah, James. Sorry, Naylor Ben says James doesn't consider heroin hard.
Right now, he fucking made the acid.
Yeah. I'm getting anxious because my voice is going, and the last time this happened, it was COVID.
Yeah. I remember that. Right. Okay. So that's it for that's it for the podcast, Matt. Do you want to do the socials, my friend?
Oh yeah, sure. So streams this Thursday. See a Friend is back. Sean, can you exclusively reveal who the friend is?
Yeah. So a couple of things. So Darren Gargett is going to be on this week's. And next week's, I'm going to mention it now. It's not 100%, but I've been in talks with Ian Lee, and he's up for doing it. But if he is doing it, we have to move it to Tuesday. Obviously, you guys. I've said to him that like. Well, sorry.
The guy who nicked the strawberries on that.
The fucking strawberry thief. So God knows what he'll be up to in Sea of Thieves. It's going to be a liability. We talked about it, and I said basically, obviously, you guys are welcome to join us, although I will have a go at you for only joining because Ian's there and because he's famous. It's entirely up to you. So that'll be, I think that's Tuesday the 17th. So that's the next two already lined up, basically.
Holy old job. If you missed
I will say we've just lost about 20 listeners during the socials.
On my screen, we've gained one. Yeah, and this Friday, it's the eagerly awaited return of James streaming, because he missed last week, with his new series, Dr. Retro.
Is it a new series?
That's not what we're calling it, is it?
That was the character name.
Okay. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, so I'm going to do that. Yeah, that's going to happen.
I thought it was called
mean, or
Till I
not.
Die, the Till I Die series.
Well, that's a different thing, right?
Okay.
Oh, that's what I was going to do. But okay.
Are you doing till like what are you doing? What are you doing till you die?
I don't know. I was thinking of Mario games this
Okay.
time around because I
Okay.
did Sonic last time. So and I've got because the thing is now I'm gonna stream from my Switch because I can. And so there's all those games on the virtual consoles and all that kind of stuff. There's tons of them. This will take ages. So I'm going to do that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so Mario Till I Die, that sounds awesome. Sorry, I thought it was Dr. Metro, but my bad.
I mean, we're just going
If
to
you
call him
missed
that
them-
anyway. It's fine.
If you missed them on Twitch, they'll be up on YouTube as all our other streams are as well. But back on the Twitch, and of course, if you've got Amazon Prime, you've got Twitch Prime Gaming. With that, connect your two accounts. We get a free sub every month. And we'd love if you went up to our channel. I mean, many of you have done this tonight. Love if you went up to our channel and gave us a free sub. We really appreciate it. If you're buying stuff on the Epic Game Store, and who isn't these days, go over and add the creator code TCGS when you're buying your V-Bucks or anything Rocket League, console or PC. Patreon.com is what we mentioned before. Live exclusive podcasts, talksovers, you name it. If you want to support what we're doing over here, go over there. And TCGS.co is the website for everything else.
Thank you so much.
I've missed what they're laughing at, Matt.
It's
I
just
was
David
copying
imitating
everything
whatever
James
I
Farley
did.
was doing.
Oh, right.
Everything James did, I was doing, and he just called that. Also, I don't see who it was. Let me scroll up a little bit. But someone just put in the chat. I lost it at one point because they put. Oh no, I don't think I can find it. Or has it been deleted? Oh, that's a shame.
Is it offensive?
Oh, there we go. Revenge of Gibbon put. He is here, Dr. Rachel. It quotes there, and that made me laugh a lot. We will catch you next week. Thank you so much for living it. And here's to 300 more, eh?
I mean, when you say that,
James,
I'm not that I've no intention of stopping doing this, but when you say 300 more, I'm just like, oh fucking hell.
That is too much. It's like starting a new FromSoft game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Goodbye, everyone.
No, no.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Right, so we've stopped recording. We are still streaming, by the way. And I don't know about you, but I would like to say thank you so much for joining us live. It's been great seeing you all chatting away. And yeah, what a great way to celebrate 300 episodes.
Yeah, man.
Smash out
Absolutely.
a live show, man.
Absolutely wild.
It's been really fun. I mean, I still don't know because I know behind the scenes we've talked about doing this like more regularly, right? Like when we record the
We
show.
have.
But I don't know about you guys. I just feel exhausted being on camera the whole time.
Yeah, I hate being on
We'll
camera.
get used to
I
that.
know.
We'll get used to that.
We could get used to it. I suppose, I mean, if you listen, no, I'm just realizing I'm only talking to the Switch audience, but if you listen to this as a podcast and you feel like you're constantly missing things, that was my always my worry. Like, does it change the fabric of the podcast? Right? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm still on it.
I mean, I listen to like a bunch. I mean, like the kind of funny stuff. I mostly listen to as podcasts, but if there's like someone I like a lot of, maybe I'll watch the video. But generally,
Yeah.
I think we'll learn to not really
You
affect
might
that
be
too
right.
much.
I have enjoyed this. I've really
I
enjoyed
wouldn't
doing this.
say, it didn't feel that different to me, honestly. from doing it. So,
James is always exhausted. That's why.
Yeah, it makes absolutely no difference to that, but makes absolutely no difference to it. Right.
Can I thank the people who have subscribed and support?
God,
yeah,
yeah,
of
we've
course,
had
yeah, go
shitloads,
for it,
haven't we?
man. I'm going to look for someone to raid, so you
Oh, good
do
idea.
what you got to do.
Cool, yeah. So in terms of subs, we've got Terziak. Thank you ever so much. Deviant Web, Simon Sloth. I may have read coming out before. Simon Sloth again. Thank you for those 5 community subs. Jamie John 1990. Thank you. Melly Pereda. Thank you. Garrison Savannah. We had the hype train, of course. JS Swab 1991. CJ71. Dr. T Gonzo and JAQ515, thank you for the 1500 bits. Thank you ever so much for that. We appreciate it a lot. Fletcher Rama, Woodfella, Jack C. Miller, Jack Miller, also gave out 5 subs. Amazing. Hasbo, Gary Dutton, J. Trev, XB Dean, Paul Hitchley, Zoe Haar, Trapdoor232, there's so many to get through. Conky Donker and Louis P, thank you for all of those amazing subs. We absolutely massively appreciate it. If you've connected to your accounts and give us your free Prime sub, we hugely appreciate that. Thank you ever so much. Your readers mean everything to us. And there's a bunch of followers as well, but thank you ever so much for being here. It's been awesome to do the pod in front of
yeah, we really appreciate all your support. It really means a lot to us. God, I am now breaking down. I can't find anyone to raid. You choose.
Let's have a look.
You choose.
Who's on the old Twitch?
I'll raid with you.
Twitch.
I'll raid with you all. Let's all get in there and send lovely messages to whoever we're gonna raid. All right?
Oh fuck me! Fucking Twitch! Shut up. Sorry, I just loaded up.
It's annoying that, isn't it?
It's
How
really
it does
annoying.
that. Yeah, the auto load with the sound on. It's like, what are they thinking?
Unbelievable.
I'm just having a look at like people we follow. I know these are all ones that we've like had recommended. If there's any
We got Laura K. Buzz.
Oh yeah. She on?
Just streaming Disco Elysium.
Amazing. Who read her?
Seems perfect, doesn't it?
I've forgotten the raid command. Is it / or exclamation mark?
It's /raid and then
Oh yeah.
type in the name.
Alright. Okay. Buzz. Oh, do you have to do @ or did you just? No.
I think I'm not sure. It might have changed. It's been a while.
Let's try it. I'm just gonna enter that. See what happens. There we go. Raid has been created. Amazing.
Nice one. Well, thank you all. We will see you soon.
Yeah, go over there. Say hello to Laura if you're not already following her.
Be
And,
fucking nice.
Be nice. Don't
Yeah,
embarrass us.
Yeah.
Don't embarrass us.
Yeah.
Be cool.
Have a little bit of faith in our listeners, please.
But yeah, thanks so much to everyone who's watched this. It's been really good fun.
Yeah. Until the next one. Bye all.
Milestone.
Bye.
Ta-ra.